Freeze! That's Mr. Freeze to you. Hey, hey, Wolfpack, we're back with another surprise tier list. This time we're talking about another iconic DC baddie, Mr. Freeze, aka Victor Fries, whose last name is ironically spelled fries like French fries. Yep, talking about another grade A Batman villain. Gonna be ranking all the different interpretations and adaptations of the legendary Ice villain. Hey Cat, hey Light Jones, revenge is a dish best served cold. Hey Christopher, hey Cat, hey Yara, you made it. Didn't know if you'd show up for this one. Making sure all my equipment works. Yep, gonna be talking about all the adaptations of Mr. Freeze, the legendary Ice villain who always battles the Batman / Bat family if you read the other stuff. Yeah, I decided to do another DC ranking. Was going to do Poison Ivy. Unfortunately, I could not get Wolf to come on board. I was waiting to get Wolf on board for one of these DC rankings, so Poison Ivy unfortunately has to wait. I'm also going over all the different interpretations of Ivy, but decided to settle on doing Mr. Freeze, another villain I always wanted to rank. So, let's talk about the tier list rules in case this is your first tier list ever. I will be ranking each and every interpretation of Mr. Freeze, from the TV shows, the cartoons, to even the video games. All the different visual mediums of Mr. Freeze and how he's written, how his character is portrayed, and how well the actor actually did. Ranking them all up on this tier list from top best to bottom worst. And we actually do have some fun slots for this character because I couldn't resist the Ice puns, much like Arnold. So up top we have Sub-Zero. Yeah, don't let the title fool you, this is an S tier Mr. Freeze. These are the perfect ones, the perfect 10 out of 10s, the greatest interpretations of the Iceman ever. And we might be seeing quite a few up here. I think you all know who's gonna go up here into Sub-Zero, but yeah, basically the best of the best. Then underneath we have Cool. Speaks for itself. These ones definitely interesting interpretations of Mr. Freeze. Good, not great. Might have a complaint or a nitpick or two here and there, but overall I would say they are a grade A Mr. Freeze. Just requires minor improvements. Then here we have Frozen. These ones, Frozen right smack in the middle. Yeah, this is the middle tier. These ones, okay, they're average. They're subpar Mr. Freezes. They did their job, had a lot going for them, but weren't good enough to be great, but also not bad enough to be god-awful. Underneath that we have He's Melting. These ones, weak Mr. Freezes. The ones that are melting. The ones that almost could have been a beautiful ice sculpture, but ended up kind of losing it. They're the dud Mr. Freezes, forgettable ones that honestly didn't really impress me. Then in the F tier we have Absolute Zero. Speaks for itself, the failures, the Fs, the god-awful interpretations of Victor Freeze, and tragically we might see some faces down here. Hey Arnold. Then underneath we have Who? These ones, I don't know. These are from shows or games I do not know. I don't recognize this Mr. Freeze. Ones I just plain have no knowledge of. This one is going on to bottom, but don't worry, they're not bad, but they're also not good either. I just don't recognize them. Absolute Zero is the worst column here. And we have all the Mr. Freezes we've ever seen so far, including the 3 different Adam West versions and some of the animated redesigns. But yeah, gonna be talking a lot about the Iceman during this hot summer. Like, so much better than Hawkmoth? Okay. Hey, Kira. Yeah, he is. Catch up on comments, seeing who's showing up right now. Glad you showed up, Yara. Don't see you often on these tier list rankings. Was expecting this to be on December since, well, Freeze is cold, lol. Yeah, I was gonna do that, but Wolf might do Heart of Ice or something on December instead. No, I decided, you know, it'd be funny if we talked about Mr. Freeze during the hot summertime. Keeping you guys cool with a cool tier list. Hi, Cat. Hey, Akira. Yep, talking about Mr. Freeze. Will sense because it's kind of obvious already, I'm going to go on and say it. Okay, you know who's going up top on Light Jones. But any one of these are welcome regardless. Will be in the background here and there, lurking, but I have a good feeling who will be the best and worst versions. Yeah, we know who's probably going to be on rock bottom, but we do have Suicide Squad's non-binary Mrs. Freeze on here. Yep, she actually made it on here, and we're gonna have a lot to say about her. Arnold Schwarzenegger's the absolute worst, even he denies any involvement in Batman and Robin. Yeah, that sounds like Arnold. The DC equivalent of the Frankenstein monster, on par with Marvel's Doc Ock, at least Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home, a tragic character. Hi, Cat. Hey, Bat-Kid, you made it. Love the character. Like, what could Isekai Mr. Freeze be like? Not sure. I guess he would look like a Frankenstein's monster with stitched up parts with his ice parts. Like have magic ice cliffs. Oh yeah, he'd be like an ice demon. Or Batman Ninja Mr. Freeze. I could see him as a yokai or an ice yokai. Hey, question, have you watched Gregory Horror Show? No, I have not, Tails. Okay, so to go over the basics, if you don't know who Mr. Freeze is, I'm sure most of you do, but in case you don't, Mr. Freeze has actually been kind of a major Batman villain, but his character and backstory have been all over the place. He's been retconned, rewritten, reinterpreted, but there are some popular interpretations of him. The most blatant one being the tragic villain. Mr. Freeze is a tragic villain. Victor was once a renowned scientist, doing great stuff with cryogenics. In some versions, he had a dying wife, Nora Freeze, who was the love of his life, the one who kept him going. Some versions of Victor are kind of single, or usually a evil mad scientist who went insane after he was exposed to dangerously toxic cryogenic chemicals. Yeah, Victor Freeze got exposed to toxic molecules that changed his DNA, turning him into a living Iceman. Mr. Freeze needs the cold to live. He can breathe and stay alive and basically be normal in cold environments. If he steps out into hot environments or even basic normal environments, he starts melting and dying. He can't breathe out there. We've seen his origin multiple times. He was doing this to get a cure to save his dying wife, or if you read the older interpretations or the infamous New 52 version, he was a deranged mad scientist in some versions, where he was trying to make cryogenic weaponry only to be exposed and hoisted by his own petard, basically. He was exposed to cryogenic chemicals in all of these origins, and he became Mr. Freeze. He wears this cool high-tech suit, basically to live, but it also acts as like an iron suit power armor, allowing him to fight Batman. And he goes on a rampage, doing some criminal misdeeds, either to save his wife or take over the world, of course. And yeah, had a lot of fun, Mr. Freezes. A lot of people love the tragic villain, Mr. Freeze. That's the most iconic one. Victor loved his wife, Nora Freeze. Nora Freeze was like the perfect woman. She was hot, she liked him, brought him out of his shell, basically. Victor was a shy scientist, while Nora was, in some interpretations, a ballerina, a very outspoken woman, and she loved Victor for who he was, until she ended up catching this fatal disease. It was going to end up killing her, but Victor cryogenically froze her so he could one day find a cure and bring Nora back to life. However, they were separated through a lot of great tragedy, namely the fact that Victor is technically a mutant metahuman who can't touch her anymore because he'll die in normal environments, and Nora is in the cryotube. Depending on what interpretation, she sometimes eventually gets cured or just stays trapped forever in a really horrifying situation. But Victor became a criminal to basically help her, going on a lot of criminal misdeeds, working with other villains, and we do see Victor might have a small amount of humanity in there. Victor is one of the most likely villains Batman can redeem. He reaches out to his humanity, proving that there is a warm heart underneath his icy shell, but Victor is basically kind of a Frankenstein's monster type of villain. Created by Science Gone Amok, lost himself, believes that there is no good in humanity, and depending on what interpretation you follow, Victor can show a softer side, show that he does care, making him one of the few morally gray Batman villains. Again, there are some full-blown evil Mr. Freezes, Arnold Schwarzenegger being one of them, but we're going to be talking about all of them on this tier list. But Victor is an iconic Batman villain for a reason. A lot of people love him. He's really cool, pun intended, has that cool ice suit, has an ice gun. Sometimes it's an ice gauntlet, depending on what interpretation. Wears all this cool high-tech iron suit stuff, talks to his dying wife, who is put in like a cryotube. She's in suspended animation, still alive, but whether she's aware or not is kind of debatable. Yeah, Freeze becomes a polar bear in Batman vs. TMNT Tales. Yeah, that's from Batman vs. TMNT. Yeah, I told you we got a lot of Mr. Freezes on here. So some cameo Mr. Freezes might not be on here. Yeah, cameo Mr. Freezes got a small amount of them, but only the ones that really matter, the ones that laid a big impression, and many that you might recognize. Some on here I don't, namely some of the bottom ones. I don't recognize this one. I think that's Lego Mr. Freeze, and having trouble recognizing this one, but I guess somebody in the chat will tell me who. The polar bear, that's Batman vs. TMNT, Mr. Freeze. Yay, Bat Kid, glad you made it. Love the character, we all do, he's cool. Mr. Freeze actually had invaded in the summer, like in the Batman series. Yeah, I remember that did happen. Clancy Brown, Mr. Freeze. Who's worse, Oxymoron Freeze or Terminator Freeze? I think Terminator Freeze. Chemicals in comics always giving superpowers to anyone unfortunate enough. Yeah, classic science run amok. I don't see Batman vs. TMNT version. That's the polar bear, Mr. Freeze. We have his mutant form. I guess it made them easier to recognize. Still total BS that the Harley Quinn tier did not have her hyena form, but whatever. Like why people put Dr. Octopus versus Mr. Freeze in Death Battle like worst Marvel versus DC matchup. I guess because they're both the tragic mad scientist villains. Though Mr. Freeze should fight an ice villain. Yeah, Mr. Freeze became a polar bear in Batman vs. TMNT. Yeah, I'm sure you're all looking forward to seeing Plant Poison Ivy from Batman vs. TMNT. Who's scarier, Single Freeze or potentially Widowed Freeze? Single Mr. Freeze because he has nothing to live for. Widow Mr. Freeze at least has a partial spark of humanity within him. Like Emilia Agreste of the DC Comics. Okay, like Scarecrow tier list for Halloween. Yeah, definitely. You want to rank all the Scarecrows. But we're doing Mr. Freeze right now. Okay, so as you can see, we got a lot of Mr. Freezes from the Adam West era to the Kill the Justice League era. All the animated ones, the cartoon ones, a lot of Mr. Freezes. Some good, some bad. And we're gonna find out where they land on this here tier list. So let's finally start with the first ever Mr. Freeze, George Sanders. Yes, this is actually the Adam West Mr. Freeze. The first one, we have two more because Mr. Freeze was a character the Adam West show really struggled to get right. But George Sanders, easily the best one. He's going on to Sub-Zero. Who's George Sanders? It's Shere Khan. Yep, Shere Khan from the Jungle Book plays Mr. Freeze, and he's easily the best of them. George Sanders, Mr. Freeze, really cool, really creepy, very off-putting, has some semblance of a sense of humor, but this was one of the few serious villains of the Adam West show. George Sanders played Mr. Freeze for one two-parter, but he was easily the big fan favorite one. His Victor was very ice-cold, kind of a Bond villain, Mr. Freeze. Had the evil ice cream factory, had like a heat side of his base where his henchmen could live in, but he lived in the cold side, had this businessman kind of attire. George Sanders was very smooth, very deep, very gentleman-like. He was a gentleman supervillain and took fighting Batman very dead seriously. Plus, he was one of the few henchmen that was actually... he was one of the few villains who was nice to his henchmen. He treated his henchmen with respect, actually had a heat side of the room so they could stay alive and not die. I actually did really like him. He's really interesting, honestly. He was one of the best Mr. Freezes by far until they ended up turning him into a clown later, but I think he was actually underrated as Mr. Freeze. Alright, almost forgot, that was Shere Khan. Yep, Shere Khan is Mr. Freeze. Unfortunately, George Sanders was only in one two-parter because he was very expensive. Yeah, George Sanders was a huge celebrity back at the time, and the Adam West Batman show, if you watch it, kind of low budget. They could not afford to have him as a recurring villain like Julie Newmar's Catwoman or Cesar Romero's Joker. No, George Sanders was a really busy guy. He was in a lot of stuff back then. He was a huge star, a really big name for the show, but honestly, he brought his A game to this goofy Mr. Freeze character. If you're curious, he does wear the suit eventually, actually. He wears like a kind of an astronaut looking Mr. Freeze suit. It looks like how his Silver Age comic suit looked. Basically a silver astronaut with a freeze ray. He took fighting Batman very seriously, and once again, like every other Adam West Batman villain, nearly succeeds at killing the Dark Knight with a death trap. But as you know, Adam West is too badass to stay dead, where he defeats George Sanders' Mr. Freeze. And tragically, he might be low on the S tier because we're going to be going through a lot of better Mr. Freezes, but I think he was pretty cool. He was underrated. He was really kick-ass. Sanders really brought his spooky voice to the character. He was definitely a cold, emotionless Mr. Freeze, which is always a good thing for this character. Yeah, it's Shere Khan. Starting with the Adam West trio. Yeah, let's bump them off. Yeah, we gotta wait for Aztec Batman to do the Poison Ivy tier list. There's a good amount of DC villains that like ice, like Mr. Freeze, the Penguin, because he lives with penguins, and the Mob, the ice villain from The Flash. That's Captain Cold. George Sanders was an English film, TV actor, singer / songwriter, music composer, and author. Yeah, he could sing. I know he sung in The Jungle Book briefly. That's what friends are for. He's known most of all the Addison DeWitt in All About Eve and the villainous tiger Shere Khan from The Jungle Book. Yeah, that was this guy. George Sanders plays Shere Khan from the good Jungle Book, not the live action one. No disrespect to Idris Elba, but Sanders' voice was much more intimidating. Mr. Freeze is easily more sympathetic than the canon Hawkmoth ever will be. Yep. Reading off some more of his roles. He was in the old Mission Impossible, too. Okay. Batman, Mr. Freeze, give yourself up. We can get help for you. Medical help. Mr. Freeze, in prison. This I do not believe. No, you must pay for what you did to me, for forcing me to live like this. Also, I sold Mr. Freeze, pet seal. Yeah, the seal was in all of them. They actually did get a pet seal for Mr. Freeze. You'd think that would go to the Penguin, but no. The Jungle Book is among my favorite Disney cartoons. You got good taste, Yara. Yeah, apparently George Sanders played Shere Khan from the Jungle Book movie, the cartoon one. Also, Mr. Freeze's henchmen named Chili, Nippy, Mo, Shivers, and Frosty. Yeah, Frosty was the only one who came back in Batman and Robin. There were 2 Mr. Freezes in the Bright Knight series. Actually, there were 3. We do have the other one. We have Otto Preminger, and unfortunately, Otto is going on to Absolute Zero. This is easily one of the weaker Mr. Freezes. You know, I might bump him up to He's Melting, because he's at least funny. Okay, so after George Sanders, they replaced Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze was a character they really struggled to get right on the Adam West show. Then we meet Otto Preminger, who played Mr. Freeze in the next 2-parter. Yeah, he was only in this 2-parter. And allegedly, even Adam West did not like him. There is some behind-the-scenes drama where apparently Otto and Adam West did not get along, and he was purposely sabotaging a scene Adam West was trying to do, which caused Adam to actually get pissed off at him. Otto was a difficult Freeze actor to work with behind the scenes, but how is he in front of the camera? How is he on screen? Well, he's basically the Joker with an ice gimmick. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about him. He's the Joker. He's a goofier Mr. Freeze. He's the one who does a lot more ice puns than the usual villain. And they try to give him this dumb catchphrase where he says, "Wow, that's wild. Wild, 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 Batman." Yeah, he was basically a goofy, campy clown. He's always laughing at his own jokes, always giggling. Very hyperactive, Mr. Freeze. He was basically the Joker with an ice gun. That's really all I have to say about him. He was a goofier, more comedic Mr. Freeze, and honestly, did not leave a positive impression on Batman fans. Basically, he was trying to out-ham Adam West and Cesar Romero, and a lot of behind-the-scenes drama where he did not get along. Apparently, the staff did not like Otto so much that they replaced him with a 3rd Mr. Freeze later. Them orange eyebrows be bushy, and here I thought the eyebrows on Darth Vader were bad. Yeah, they gave him, like, huge orange eyebrows, I guess to give Mr. Freeze color. The sad thing is, they actually did try to make him look like the comic book Mr. Freeze. Back then he was called Mr. Zero. Yeah, don't ask me why. They called him Mr. Zero because Absolute Zero. Then they ended up changing him to Mr. Freeze in the Adam West show because Freeze sounded more intimidating / marketable. Yeah, there were 3 Mr. Freezes on the Adam West show back, kid. 3. We got Eli coming up. Also, Glacia Glaze, born Emma Strunk, was Mr. Freeze's henchwoman and a world-renowned ice skater. That's why they had her guest star. Otto Preminger, also Elven King in The Hobbit, the 1977 Hobbit. Okay. He did have Polybag Lego minifigure. Oh, he did. Okay. Eli Wallach portrayed Mr. Freeze in the 1960s series. Yeah, Otto is much more campy, over-the-top, silly Mr. Freeze, and honestly, he was one of the more annoying ones. Unfortunately, they replaced Otto with a third Mr. Freeze. We have Eli Wallach, the last Mr. Freeze, who, tragically, is also going on to Absolute Zero. Yeah, I did not like Eli Wallach. He is easily my least favorite Mr. Freeze from the Adam West era. Basically, he's a shouting German Nazi version of Mr. Freeze. He, makes, German puns, always screams, acts like kind of Colonel Klink from Hogan's Heroes, and I didn't really gravitate towards him a lot. He felt the most generic. He was always a pissed off Mr. Freeze, and that's what kind of rubbed me the wrong way. After George Sanders did the more calm, collected, dead serious Mr. Freeze, Otto and Eli both did over-the-top, screaming clown Mr. Freeze, and Eli Wallach's Mr. Freeze was easily triggered, very anger-prone, and super pissed off. Iceman cometh! Iceman, attack! Batman, you want Blitzkrieg, my blizzard? That's how he, talks in most of his lines. Don't touch that dial, Batman! Always screaming in, a over-exaggerated German accent. Kind of what I would call a Nazi Mr. Freeze, honestly. Always screaming in German, always making some pun about ice or some German pun. My first 2 Batman shows were Brave and the Bold and the 1960s Batman. Oh, did he like them? Okay. I always kept laughing when he spoke because he reminds me of Colonel Klink from Hogan's Heroes. Yeah, that's exactly why. Eli definitely brought a Colonel Klink persona to Mr. Freeze, a screaming, angry German soldier type of persona, and that, kind of felt out of place in something like Batman. It was funny, but not really as funny as the Joker Catwoman. I never thought I'd hear Nazi and Mr. Freeze in the same sentence. Didn't even know it snowed in Germany. Arnold did this better. Yeah, he did. Hey, V Scorpio. Glad you made it. Yeah, Eli Wallach, honestly, might be my least favorite Mr. Freeze, because evil, screaming German guy feels like a very basic Mr. Freeze, and they did not explore Wallach's Mr. Freeze like they did for Sanders's. So, easily the worst Adam West interpretation of Mr. Freeze. The sad thing is, he actually looked like the character, and his design would go on to inspire the Gotham Mr. Freeze's look. Unfortunately, we don't have positive stuff to say about that one either, but we'll get to him later. But sorry, Eli, you're going on to our first Absolute Zero. But don't worry, Eli, you are still better than Pride Month Mrs. Freeze. Alright, so next is the 2 animated Mr. Freezes, and these ones going on to who? Yeah, this was back when Mr. Freeze was on the old 60s/70s cartoons, and I have not seen either of these. Yeah, they made him look like how he looked in the Golden Age comics. This is Mr. Zero, and I just never watched the shows. Yeah, sorry, I never watched either of these shows, so I don't recognize Lex Luthor Mr. Freeze here. I don't remember the third 1960s Mr. Freeze. Well, Eli also only had one 2-parter event. Each Mr. Freeze only had 1 2-parter each. Technically 3 episodes overall, but if you want to count the 2-parters as separate, only 6 episodes and 2 each to each actor. Yeah, sorry I don't recognize these old-ass cartoon Mr. Freezes. Sorry, no familiarity with them, so they'll go on to who. So don't worry, if you love them, tell me where you'd place them. How is everyone? Oh, we're fine. We're really hot here, but trying to stay cool with a tier list. I didn't know it snowed in Austria either. Appeared with Burgess Meredith, the Penguin, and Julie Newmar in the 1969 McKenna's Gold. Oh, they did. Okay. Gotham was one of the shows that started out good and interesting, but got repetitive throughout the series. Yeah, they did. Yeah, Super Friends, Mr. Freeze. Looks like Lex Luthor in a mad scientist uniform, getting Arnold out of the way. Okay, so we should probably get the next live-action Mr. Freeze done. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. Arnold, surprise, going on to Absolute Zero. I am not a fan of this Mr. Freeze. Batman and Robin is a terrible, terrible movie. The only people who like it watch it because it's so bad it's good comedy gold. Yeah, that's really it. People like Batman and Robin because it's bad, because it's so goofy you can laugh at it, and Mr. Freeze is definitely one of the reasons as to why. Arnold Schwarzenegger could have been one of the greatest Mr. Freezes ever. If they played this dead serious and Arnold brought his Terminator or Commando game to the film, I believe Schwarzenegger absolutely would have made a great live-action Mr. Freeze. Unfortunately, what we got was a goofy love letter to the Adam West Batman series / advertisement for toy commercials, and Arnold did not take this role seriously at all. Yet his Mr. Freeze is bad. It is bad. He's goofy, campy, and as we all know, or if you watch my old videos, loved his ice puns. The Iceman cometh. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Everything freezes. Yeah, he's very, very goofy in this movie. And the sad thing is, Joel Schumacher tried to make his Mr. Freeze a hybrid of the Adam West show Mr. Freeze combined with the animated series of Batman Mr. Freeze. And both of them completely clash. They do not work mixed together. It was a huge mistake. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Stay cool, bird boy. Always winterize your pipes. Yeah, really goofy. Let's kick some ice. Yeah, I got everyone in the chat quoting their favorite Freeze pun. Sorry, catch up on comments. Yeah, we're getting Arnold out of the way. Okay, that was from the Batman Superman hour. Never watched it still. I know where the animated Freeze is going. We'll get to him after, but yeah, let's get rid of the Troll one. Agreed, it's bad, but a good kind of bad like Troll 2. That's the basic consensus. I can see why people love to laugh at it. There are some funny moments I like to meme and troll over too, but it's not a good movie. And the sad thing is, Joel Schumacher is clearly a fan of the hit animated series of Batman. Like, he really liked the cartoon. In fact, there's actually homages and references to Mr. Freeze's cartoon form. Like, Joel Schumacher actually was a fan of Batman the Animated Series because he does incorporate the Nora Freeze storyline. We do see Nora is in this movie. She's like played by a Russian supermodel. She's frozen in her cryotube, and Arnold actually has these rare, deep, dramatic moments talking to Nora, how much he loves her, how he's doing this all for her, and one day he will help her. And it is a total love letter to the Batman show, but Joel Schumacher does not understand why that scene is powerful. He doesn't understand why it works. He knows it's important, but doesn't understand how Paul Dini and Bruce Timm made that into a work of art. Yeah, and we also get his hideout, the ice cream parlor. Well, we get Mr. Freeze with an ice cream parlor hideout. That's shown in Lego Batman. Yeah, that was also a level in the Lego Batman game. Really, I did actually like the goofy giant snowman ice cream hideout. It's so ridiculous, but how does Batman not search there first? Batman Forever was very kooky too, but Batman and Robin took it to a whole new level. I forget that I was watching the movie. Yeah, so I love Batman Forever, but Batman and Robin is what happens when you go too lighthearted and goofy. If Batman Returns was too dark, Batman and Robin is too far in the other direction, too lighthearted, too silly, too safe for kids, to the point where you don't take anything seriously and feel nothing when we're supposed to feel those dramatic stakes. I know, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger was such an easy task pick if they were going to make Mr. Freeze the cold-blooded killer like the Terminator. Exactly. Arnold could have been a great Mr. Freeze in a dead serious movie. Unfortunately, in this tribute to the Adam West Batman, he was not. And honestly, it made a lot of people think that Arnold Schwarzenegger was a terrible actor, when honestly, I think he just didn't take anything seriously in the movie. I mean, Uma Thurman is also a great actress, and George Clooney was a great actor. And even they did not take this movie seriously and were goofballs. His best comedy movie was in The Last Action Movie. Yeah, that's right, that was. Wow, I walked into Arnold's Freeze just like that. Hey, Bodhi, you made it. You missed us talk about the Adam West Mr. Freezes and the old cartoon Mr. Freezes. We're ripping off the Band-Aid now, talking about Arnie. Like, he did save Michael Caine Alfred. Yeah, at the end of that. It's Michael Gow's Alfred. I think Freeze was the best character in Batman Forever, or at least best written. Joel Schumacher is weird. But to be fair, the bar for quality in Batman Forever is really low. I thought Jim Carrey's Riddler was actually funny. I'm Mr. White Christmas, I'm Mr. Snow. What the hell is that sing-along scene all about? Yeah, he's like forcing his goons to watch the Frosty movie. It's like the one with the Jack Frost character. He's singing that stupid song, and he's forcing the henchmen to sing it too. I did like seeing Vivica A. Fox as the sexy ice girlfriend. Talk about the cold shoulder. Yeah, get used to bad puns all throughout this movie. You know, Mr. Freeze was originally called Mr. Zero, as in a sub-zero temperature. Yeah, we did bring that up briefly earlier. I am very glad they changed the name, though, because Mr. Zero sounds like a math villain. Alright, everyone, chill. Cool party. Let's kick some ice. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Freeze well. Stay cool, bird boy. Arkham, Lego, and the animated series Freeze are the only ones that matter. You don't like Telltale, Mr. Freeze, Bodhi? They could have based him more on the Adam West Freeze, but no, missed opportunity. Exactly. They got the bad puns out of the way, but yeah, Batman and Robin's Freeze, it was bad. Exactly. Death is cold, Batman. Gotham's Freeze, also good, but his low-budget costume was terrible. Also, his weird ice hair looks stupid. Well, many people have kind of thought me on the topic if Arnold Schwarzenegger's a good actor, and they would usually just bring up the fact that he's never won an Academy Award or an Oscar. Yeah, that is kind of bull. I see a lot of great actors on The Haunting Hour who never won awards, so that doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, so Arnold could have been a great Mr. Freeze, but tragically wasn't, and the writing did not back him up either. One, the suits all looked awful. He wears like a bathrobe and those polar bear slippers at one point when he's out of the suit. So, to Schumacher's credit, he does try to follow the animated series Mr. Freeze logic. He's trying to save his dying wife. In this movie, he actually needs diamonds to act as fuel for his freeze suit. He is not everlasting like he is in everything else. So, Mr. Freeze does have a weakness. Unfortunately, one of the big missteps I think the movie makes, you know, outside of everything, is that Mr. Freeze is taken out halfway into the movie. Yet, no joke, he falls for Batman's trap, robs like the gala where Poison Ivy's at. Poison Ivy develops a crush on him, and yeah, it is weird. Can't wait to see Bodhi's reaction to Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy's villain romance. But yeah, Mr. Freeze robs the place, tries to steal a diamond, and Batman takes him out halfway through the film. And this, I felt, was kind of a huge mistake because it kind of defanged Mr. Freeze as a villain because he's locked up in Arkham Asylum halfway in, and Poison Ivy more or less becomes the main villain for the second act. Yeah, Freeze is locked up. He doesn't need the cold to breathe. He's like in an ice cell. It's really ridiculous giving him the striped pajama outfit. But yeah, he's locked up. He can't leave his ice cell. He almost escapes but can't breathe out there. So Poison Ivy falls in love with Mr. Freeze, and she and Bane bust him out, forming a plan to basically kill Batman and take over the world, of course. And yeah, to this day, there's a lot of fans who like to joke or want to forget Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze become like a villain couple. Well, Poison Ivy has a huge crush on him. Victor cares about his wife more, wants to save her. He low-key kind of takes advantage of Poison Ivy helping him, and they eventually team up when Poison Ivy betrays him by killing Nora. Poison Ivy unplugs Nora's tube and she's left for dead. Yoo-hoo needs a frozen popsicle for a wife, and Poison Ivy is kind of an evil, backstabbing mean girl. Like Uma Thurman, she's at least hot, so that made up for a lot of the movie. But yeah, Poison Ivy teams up with Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze actually has one good scene in this. This one scene I do like Arnold, where Poison Ivy tells him that his wife died, Batman killed her, and she gives him the snowflake necklace, and I actually really love this scene. Victor holds and cradles the necklace, realizing his wife is gone, sheds a single tear, and it turns into ice before dissolving away. Kind of like his precious Nora, and I actually thought this scene was one of the rare highlights of the Batman and Robin movie, where Mr. Freeze breaks down, tries to hold back his tears, but he believes Nora is dead, and we get that beautiful snow imagery of his tear turning into ice and melting away, just like his precious Nora. And that's the one scene I think Arnold does really well in this. He actually does capture the tragic Mr. Freeze for a brief few seconds, but if you know the movie, Victor loses it and decides he wants to destroy the world in one of the dumbest evil plans ever. Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy want to conquer the planet. Half of it will be frozen, and half of it will be overgrown by mutant plants, which kind of contrast each other because freezing the world kills all life, but plants will start a new breed of life, and Poison Ivy has this mutant velociraptor flower thing that she wants to plant. She's gonna plant her mutant babies, and they'll be the new two people on Earth, Adam and Evil. And yeah, this is where the movie goes to maximum stupid. Tonight's full cast of Freeze is coming. Yeah, it's some kind of piranha plant. Only thing I like about Telltale's Freeze is how he freezes people with his hands. That's unique. Yeah, the Freeze gauntlets. Sorry, I catch up on comments. It sounds more like a sidekick to the calculator, Mr. Zero. Yeah, well, a lackey. What if 90s Gomez Adams was Mr. Freeze instead? Would have been better? Yeah, probably. Wouldn't their powers contradict each other in a negative way? Exactly. This team up makes no sense. The Riddler and Two-Face team up, that actually did make sense in context of the story, and those villains have worked together before. Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy are two contradicting villains. Poison Ivy wants to save plants and take over the world, creating a new era of life, but Mr. Freeze wants to freeze the world, and ice would assure the death of all life, human and plant, because plants die in cold weather, and for some reason they team up and decide to split the world in half. I guess they'll both have their own turf in the New World Order, but yeah, it's still kind of a weird team up. Not to mention, how is Poison Ivy gonna make love to Mr. Freeze when he needs to be in a cold room? Yeah, she had these literal piranha plants after after the Mario game. They did really have a romance in the movie. Oh, didn't really have a romance in the movie. It was a toxic relationship, literally. Again, this movie has tidbits here and there of good parts, but like the golden turd from American Dad and Aqua Teen Hunger Force, it's nice but still shit. Yeah, basically. What is it with Schumacher and who he writes women and how he designs costumes, especially Batman and Robin's costumes? Yeah, the bat nipples are in this. So, Mr. Freeze takes over an observatory and turns a telescope into a freeze gun. I was almost gonna compliment the movie for this, but guess what? This was ripped off from Batman the Animated Series 2. This was the episode Deep Freeze. Grant Walker, who hires Mr. Freeze to help him, and Grant Walker also had Mr. Freeze build a giant ice cannon to flash freeze the world. And yeah, Schumacher once again is kind of taking stuff from the animated series. He converts a giant space telescope into a freeze ray, uses all the diamonds he stole, and Mr. Freeze kind of becomes the endgame villain of the movie. Which is weird because Batman already beat him up halfway through, so there's a lot less suspense here than in Batman Forever. But yeah, we get a fight scene, Batgirl shows up, Poison Ivy is taken out so anticlimactically in this movie, but that's a story for the other Ivy tier list. Victor fights them, they have a final showdown, Bane is epically humiliated, beaten by an inexperienced Batgirl, and George Clooney pounds Mr. Freeze easily. Yeah, most unrealistic part of the movie. George Clooney beats up Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's beaten, they bring the sun back, they destroy his freeze cannon. However, Batman actually reaches out to Victor in this movie because it turns out Alfred also has the same fatal illness that Nora Freeze has, and Victor developed a cure. It only helps in the first stages of the disease, though, which is why he never gave it to his wife. Victor was on his way to making a cure to help save them from this fatal disease. He was going to give it to Nora. Unfortunately, he was too late because she was in a later stage of the illness. But Batman actually begs Victor to help, to give his cure and show that he still has humanity within him. You know, after he kicked his ass for nearly destroying the world, but yeah. Victor actually has a heartwarming moment where he gives Batman the cure, and Batman uses both vials to save Alfred. Yeah, I'm not sure why he used both when he should have used one and gave the other to like a medical institute, but yeah. Alfred is brought back to life, and Victor gets his revenge on Uma Thurman Poison Ivy, which I hope Bodhi likes because he really hates Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy. Yeah, Victor's like locked in back in Arkham Asylum, and it's implied that he murders Poison Ivy here. Yeah, like Poison Ivy's crazy, sitting in the dungeon. He loves me not. He loves me not. And Victor comes in all decked out in ice armor, very much aware that she tried to terminate his wife. Yeah, Nora is alive, Batman saved her on time, and Victor is going to give her the beating of a lifetime, which is very well deserved at this point. It's one of the few moments where Arnold is actually scary as Mr. Freeze, too. Linkara pointed that out, too, but it got ruined in the comic. But yeah, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, and it's not good. Joel is not good at balancing out the comedic Mr. Freeze with the dead serious animated series Mr. Freeze, the dramatic tragic Freeze, who does not work because these two personalities just clash with each other, and as we all know and love, the ice puns really take away any fear factor from him. She was basically one shot at by Batgirl, yeah. Sorry, catch up on comments. They did have a toxic relationship. It was one-sided. Yeah, Poison Ivy had a crush on Freeze. Victor did not return it. I'm not looking forward to Suicide Squad's Lady Mrs. Freeze. I'll tell you that much, lol. Don't worry, Bodhi. We'll get there last. Japanese food commercials are better at storytelling compared to Schumacher's Batman movies, and they are at around a minute long each. I hate both versions of these villains. I know you do, Bodhi. But if it's any consolation, Bodhi, Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy implied to die at the end where Victor gives her a prison beating. Also, there are better fast food commercials in American McDonald's commercials. Okay. Might as well get it out of the way. Let's talk about the worst one. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League one. You want her out of the way? Literally all the villains in this movie are one shot in. Yeah, okay, so anyways, to wrap up, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze is bad. It was bad then, it's still bad now. Arnold could have been a great Mr. Freeze, but if you saw the movie, the production, Schumacher's directing, and especially the studio interference, they just ruined this character. It's why we're probably never gonna see Mr. Freeze in a big budget movie ever again, because Arnold was just that bad. He is an absolute zero. Speaking of which, people want me to kick off the other bad Mr. Freeze. Let's do it. Let's talk about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's non-binary Mrs. Freeze. Yes, you did not mishear that. Non-binary Mrs. Freeze. Yeah, here she is with the pride flag armor. Yeah, this is actually a DLC character you can buy in the stupid Suicide Squad game. And here's a shock. Going on to Absolute Zero. Yes, this might be the worst Freeze ever. How can you get a character like Mr. Freeze wrong? Well, like everything about the Kill the Justice League game, the developers found a way. This Mrs. Freeze, awful. awful, stupid idea. Like, who wanted a gender-bent Mr. Freeze? Like, really? We already have a gender-bent Mr. Freeze. She's called Killer Frost. And you probably would have made a ton of money by having the Assault on Arkham Killer Frost in this game. But no, let's make Mr. Freeze a non-binary female fat chick with pride flag armor. I am dead serious. This was a decision they actually made, and they thought this was going to sell. For those of you who mercifully forgot, Mrs. Freeze came out on Pride Month, and barely anyone bought this character because the design was so hideous. Barbara Wilson, what is Alfred's brother in Slater was? The only good scene in the entire movie is when Mr. Freeze actually becomes the Terminator for Poison Ivy. Yeah, that one. Barbara Wilson, what is Alfred's brother in Slater what? But she isn't a woman, why is she called Mrs. Freeze? Yeah, she's non-binary but a female, which... yeah, pretty much tells you that these people have no clue what they're talking about. Non-binary people are people who don't identify as having either gender, yet she's still called Mrs. Freeze. They call her she, her. It does not make any sense. And if we're gonna look at her character, well, there really is none. She's, I guess, a lesbian because she mentions Nora. She says, anyone who touches my Nora is dead. They made her, like, really fat, really ugly. They could have made Mr. Freeze a sexy female chick, but no, they don't. They should have had Killer Frost instead, but then we wouldn't have the stupid Pride Month armor. Yeah, Mr. Freeze has Pride Month armor. If you weren't afraid of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, well, don't worry, you'll be laughing yourself to death looking at non-binary Mrs. Freeze. I think Laura Bailey voices her. It sounds like her Abby voice, but yeah, the voice actress, not very good, not really intimidating. The armor sets just make her look fat. She looks like an overweight fat chick, so you don't really buy that she's out there fighting to the death like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is jacked. And yeah, she's basically has Mr. Freeze's fighting set, has the ice gun, has those ice cleats. They tried to make her look like a female version of the Arkham City Mr. Freeze, and oh boy, it does not work or look intimidating in the slightest. They should have just given us Nora Freeze and turned her into her Lazarus form from the comics. Yeah, absolutely. Would have sold 5 times better. The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was already a very shitty game, and I think they simply made it worse so that the player could commit suicide. Sweet Baby Inc. is its name. What the fuck to this game? Yeah, more like Sweet Baby Stink. Brother-in-law, not brother, my bad. Yeah, whatever. This Mrs. Freeze, awful. Whose idea was it to make Mr. Freeze a non-binary female lesbian, like a fat chick in an ice suit, and she is basically DLC, so have fun paying $20 for this hideous thing. Yeah, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a garbage tier game, and unsurprisingly, they have a garbage tier Mr. Freeze. Easily the worst one, absolute zero, not even recognizable to the character. That's how bad Mrs. Freeze is. Just stick with Killer Frost from Assault on Arkham. Yeah, that Killer Frost was hot as hell. She was cool. They should have just brought her back as a DLC. She probably would have made sacks of money over the fat chick, Mr. Freeze, but yeah, there you go. Awful. Alright. Now let's talk about a good Mr. Freeze. Let's finally talk about Michael and Sarah from Batman the Animated Series. We have all his different ice forms. Batman the Animated Series, Mr. Freeze, who, going on to Sub-Zero. And yeah, sorry George Sanders, but Michael and Sarah is a legendary Mr. Freeze. Yep, we finally made it to a great Mr. Freeze. Not just a great Mr. Freeze, a phenomenal reinterpretation of Mr. Freeze. So, If you don't know the classic legendary Heart of Ice, Paul Dini and Bruce Timm wanted to reinvent Mr. Freeze into a tragic villain. Mr. Freeze was not a super layered or deep character at this point, so they decided to give him a whole new, fresh, tragic backstory, tragic personality, and a new motivation as to why he's a supervillain. Back then, Mr. Freeze was just a goofy villain with an ice gimmick. George Sanders was pretty much the only good Mr. Freeze we had so far, but then came along Heart of Ice, and this changed Batman history forever. Michael Ansara voices this Mr. Freeze, and he is amazing. His voice is like the most iconic Mr. Freeze ever, captures the cold, emotionless, broken Victor Freeze, but has a tragic backstory. Batman the Animated Series is basically the show that gave us Nora Freeze and Victor's tragic origin. Victor was once a well-respected scientist who worked for Ferris Boyle at GothCorp. He tried to save his dying wife, was illegally bringing her into the company, using the technology to help her experiment on her and find the cure. Ferris Boyle found out. Back then, Ferris Boyle was also voiced by Mark Hamill, which is really funny. Boyle told Mr. Freeze that he was not allowed to do this and was going to rip apart Nora Freeze from the technology, that she was not allowed to be here and disconnect her, which would have killed her. But during a fight, Victor tried to save Nora. Ferris kicked him into toxic chemicals, mutating him into Mr. Freeze. And it's never explained how in the cartoon. They do explain in the Arkham Origins remake, but they assumed Victor died, but he was alive and rebuilt himself into Mr. Freeze here. His suit is really cool, really buff, really jacked Mr. Freeze. I heard the artist who drew Hellboy comics actually drew this design, and yeah, it is pretty legendary, Mr. Freeze. Like, I believe this is the same design they use for the Lego Mr. Freeze down here. That cool muscle suit and the weird astronaut helmet, and he has those red goggles. Really iconic redesign. Victor goes on a rampage to get revenge against Ferris Boyle. And if you played Arkham Origins, you should probably know this story. Ferris Boyle is like winning the Humanitarian of the Year award, even though he's clearly an evil douchebag. And Victor comes in to get his revenge, clearly as a tragic villain, a sign that his hate and need for revenge has turned him ironically into a worse monster than Ferris Boyle ever was. Was there any doubt? Batman the Animated Series redefined and perfected Mr. Freeze. Absolutely. Just stick with Killer Frost from Assault on Arkham. Exactly. Rightfully so. This is what I grew up on for the animated series. Yeah, the Heart of Ice, Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Batman the Animated Series Freeze, a classic. That's Mr. Freeze to you. Yeah, it goes on his rampage, tries to kill Ferris Boyle. Batman investigates and finds out that there's more to this Mr. Freeze than meets the eye, leading to that tragic discovery where he sees Victor was once a normal, nice guy who wanted to save his dying wife. He was denied saving her and turned into this Frankenstein's monster. Unfortunately, Batman has to stop him because Victor Freeze's problem is he does not care about who's caught in the crossfire. This is foreshadowed earlier where he almost kills one of his own henchmen and decides to leave him for dead rather than save him, showing what a cold monster Victor has become, that Victor has kind of lost his humanity. Ironically, doing this to regain his humanity because he wants to save Nora, but yeah, Victor does not care who's caught in the crossfire. He's that type of villain. Civilian casualties be damned, he will get what he wants. He's trying to kill Ferris Boyle, but at the risk of killing everyone else at the party, he does freeze Ferris Boyle halfway, like up to his waist, but Batman interferes and defeats him with chicken soup. Yeah, honestly, it's really anticlimactic, but kind of funny. Batman uses the chicken soup Alfred made him to break open his helmet, and Victor can't breathe, and he basically goes into a coma, falls over defeated. Chicken soup really does heal your day. Yeah, Batman saves him, leaves Ferris Boyle to suffer his ironic cold prison. Yeah, the police can tunnel him out slowly. But Victor is taken to, I believe, Blackgate Prison because he's not insane in this version. And we see him build that monument to Nora. He builds like a little ice sculpture of her as a ballerina because Nora wanted to be a ballerina back then. And yeah, Victor like cherishes her forever, gives his Shakespearean monologues and soliloquies, giving us one of the greatest reinventions of a supervillain ever. It's a bit funny seeing Bats with a cold, but he is human as you and me. Yeah, it did really bring Batman down to earth. It's nice to see the progression of many forms he's in for this series all the way to Batman Beyond to his demise. Yeah, so Victor would reappear in the entire DCAU. We do have his other versions down here. Last story, this Mr. Freeze also would appear in Deep Freeze, where a guy who looks like Walt Disney busts him out of prison to help him because he wants to be immortal like him. It turns out Victor getting mutated by the ice chemicals actually froze his aging, his life expectancy. Victor cannot die. He remains as an Iceman, and because of the cryocells, it slowed down his aging, so Victor can live for like 1,000,000 years. Yes, Mr. Freeze is immortal, ironically as more of a punishment than a cool superpower. Victor cannot die, well, at least from age, at least. He will never grow old, he will never decay, he will be completely frozen in time at the same age as he was when he was hit by those chemicals. And Walt Disney wants to get his paws on that immortality. This is, kind of a funny reference to when Walt Disney, like the theory that Walt Disney had himself cryogenically preserved under Disney World. Really funny take that against Disney Studios. But yeah, Walt Disney wants the ice immortality. Victor gives it to him and helps him build a giant laser that will freeze the entire world and give Joel Schumacher something to rip off. But Victor actually does show he wants to be good. Like, Batman tells him that this guy's a madman, he's going to kill everyone. Would Nora really want that? And Victor actually has a moment where he turns good, decides that Nora would not be happy seeing the monster he's become, where Mr. Freeze actually helps Batman and Robin escape and thwart evil Walt Disney. Just like Ra's al Ghul without the Lazarus Pit. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Mr. Freeze manages to save Nora, they go off, drift under an iceberg, and they defeat evil Walt Disney. I think his name was like Grant Walker or something. Yeah, Walker is like lost forever. He's immortal, but now trapped under sea after his ocean base collapses. Batman and Robin save the day, and Mr. Freeze goes MIA. Until we see him again in the Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero movie. Yeah, Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, I believe. My friend Emily really loves that movie. I thought it was okay. Basically, it finally gives a proper conclusion to the Nora storyline. Mr. Freeze was hiding out in Antarctica, but then a submarine comes in, accidentally disrupts his lab, and disconnects Nora. Nora needs to be cured now, or else she's gonna die. Her cryotube is lost. We actually see Mr. Freeze murder people. He, like, kills the entire submarine crew, freezes them to death. Victor goes back to Gotham because, by sheer bloody coincidence, it turns out Barbara Gordon has the same blood type as Nora Freeze. Yes, for reals, Victor needs a blood donor to keep Nora alive and finish his cure, and we find out Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, has the same blood type as his dying wife. Barbara is abducted, and it leads to Batman and Robin trying to rescue her and fight Mr. Freeze in the ultimate showdown. So, this one actually does have a surprisingly happy ending. They're forced to fight Victor Freeze, his corrupt assistant, and they manage to give the cure to Nora, but Victor is believed dead. He falls to his death at sea, only to see a happy twist ending. Victor is alive, and he sees that his cure did work. Nora is alive, and living happily ever after, while Victor retires with the polar bears. Very hilarious how the commissioner's daughter was the one who had the specific blood type. How convenient. It's a very good movie, honestly. Yeah, I know a lot of people love the Sub-Zero movie. I thought it was okay. Yeah, really, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it as much as everyone else. I love Mr. Freeze, and yeah, he deserved a happy ending, but Sub-Zero is not exactly in my top 10 Batman movies. I thought it was fine. Thought it felt like an extended Batman the Animated Series episode. Mask of the Phantasm was not dethroned by this movie, but very glad Victor and Nora finally got a happy ending. At least I would say that until we get to our next Mr. Freeze. But yeah, the Sub-Zero movie, I think it's fine. It would probably go on B tier, maybe A tier if I'm feeling merciful, but yeah. This Mr. Freeze, definitely Sub-Zero. This might be the #1 Mr. Freeze. Will he be dethroned? We'll see. But for now, he's going on to Sub-Zero. Unfortunately, we get to the New Adventures of Batman, the redesigned Mr. Freeze. And remember how they gave Mr. Freeze a happy ending at the end of the Sub-Zero movie? Well, now he's bitter, angsty, depressed Mr. Freeze. And this Victor, going on to cool. Okay, so Michael Ansara still plays Mr. Freeze, and he's still written connected to the animated series. This is during the infamous redesigned season of Batman the Animated Series, and I think he's fine, but the reason he's S tier is the spider legs. Yeah, everyone who watches the show knows what I'm talking about. The weird spider leg redesign, the cyborg Mr. Freeze look. That was kind of a mixed bag for fans. Okay, so Victor only has one episode in this season, but I actually thought it was pretty cool. Victor shows up, now back to his villainous roots, back to his villainous habits, disrupting and attacking people of Gotham, and for no reason at all, being a really petty dick. So, remember that happy ending of Sub-Zero? Well, Nora lets go of Victor and moves on in her life. She remarries, and now Victor is butthurt, taking out his bitter emotions on the rest of people in Gotham. He's nothing but a head, yep. The New Adventures of Batman Robin was okay, it's just that, yeah, I do not know why they needed to retcon Mr. Freeze. Yeah, they brought back Mr. Freeze and made him even more of a depressing, tragic villain. He is a total dick in his one episode. Victor lost the only woman he ever loved, and his villain scheme is basically this. He's going around taking away other people's happiness. Yeah, that's his new scheme. Because he's depressed, he wants the world to be depressed. He, destroys this archaeologist lady's discovery of a new dinosaur. He destroys this man's life's work, a giant painting of the entire city, all because he's butthurt that he didn't have the guts to talk to his wife. His wife moved on, and now he's bitter and depressed, and we find out there is more to this. Victor's body is decaying. It turns out the mutation he suffered is also destroying his body. It's literally melting away, and he's now a head attached to a spider droid. Yeah, he has a spider droid inside the suit. The suit, opens up and reveals he's a weird cybernetic spider thing. A giant mechanical spider. Yeah, he's nothing but a head. Sub-Zero is literally the perfect conclusion to Mr. Freeze, but then we have the New Adventures. Yeah, it kind of screwed everything up. Michael Ansara honestly does a good job still. Unfortunately, nobody was happy with this retcon, and bringing Mr. Freeze back just to have another animated series villain return felt like a huge misstep. This Victor looked really goofy, and basically he's going to, what else? Freeze the entire world. He's deciding he's going to destroy Gotham with an ice nuke. He's going to kill us all because he can't talk to his wife anymore. Yeah, that's really it. Batgirl and Robin work together, and Batman defeats Mr. Freeze in the Ultimate Showdown on a plane, where he crashes with his own ice nuke. Batman saves Gotham City, but Victor's head is missing, implying a sequel that wouldn't happen until next series. Yeah, okay, so I thought he was kinda cool, but nobody was happy with what they did with Mr. Freeze in this show. I am being a lot nicer and softer than most other folks would be, since I think the spider legs did kind of look cool, but that's about it. He's going on to A tier, not in the same league as the classic Mr. Freeze, but luckily, this would not be the end of the DCAU Mr. Freeze. Pickle Rick before that was a thing. Sub-Zero is literally the perfect conclusion of Mr. Freeze. Yeah, it was. We do have one last Mr. Freeze, Batman Beyond Mr. Freeze. Yep, Victor comes back years later in Batman Beyond. So, we find out his head was collected by the evil villain of the first season, Blight. I believe his name was Max Powers or something. Yeah, Blight basically takes Mr. Freeze. We find out that Blight's mutation is getting worse. However, a doctor has developed a cure that can build him a whole new body, recreate his genetic makeup back to a normal human, and they need to test this on someone. That someone being Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Victor's head was collected by Powers' company, and they give Victor a whole new body. Victor is cured. He's a normal human once more, and then he loses his mind and comes back for revenge. This Mr. Freeze going on to Sub-Zero, and I love this design. Yeah, I love this redesign of Mr. Freeze. This is easily my favorite Mr. Freeze look from the animated series. I know, blasphemy to the classic Batman the Animated Series, but Batman Beyond Mr. Freeze, that suit was epic. This is a very huge, jacked Mr. Freeze, and his weird cryogenic mutation made him look really spooky in this show. I love this Victor, and his comeback is so awesome. So if you don't know, in Batman Beyond, Victor is cured. They give him a whole new body, experiment on his head. He, I guess, mutates a new human body, gains his ability to be normal back. He can touch, he can feel, he looks like a regular average Joe. Michael Ansara really knocks it out of the park as the average everyman Mr. Freeze. He is brought back to life, and he wants to atone for all his misdeeds. He, dedicates, a building in the name of Nora Freeze, does good deeds, helps other people, saves a cat from being run over by a subway train, so he's won my vote. But Bruce does not believe it. Bruce has given up on saving Victor Freeze, only sees the worst in him. Terry actually believes that Victor is going back on the right path, that he is trying to do good. Some people do not like Victor, that he's now a normal guy, still feeling the pain of him doing evil things back in his villain tenure. But Victor tries to do good. Unfortunately, bad luck happens when we find out his cure was not permanent. His cure is wearing off. He's reverting back to mutant Mr. Freeze. He needs the cold to stay alive, and he's forced to run back to the doctors. So do you guys remember Dan Versus? I do. About on par with the Space Kook from Scooby-Doo. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it, he does kind of look like the spooky Space Kook version of Mr. Freeze. Yes, V Scorpio. I remember Dan Versus. Never watched all of it. I saw a few episodes, but honestly, it wasn't really one of my top favorite shows. I actually like Batman Beyond as a whole, actually. Even the egg episode, Light Jones. Do you like the students taking care of egg babies episodes? I heard that one was one of the worst. But yeah, Victor is betrayed. The Doctor and Blight try to kill Mr. Freeze to dissect him and find out what went wrong. Victor breaks out and returns to his old ways. He runs away, gets his old abandoned Freeze suit, and comes back for revenge. Basically trying to kill Blight and the Doctor. He does succeed at murdering Dr. Linda Hamilton. She actually is confirmed dead. She freezes to death, and we hear her really haunting screams. Yeah, Victor actually murders someone in the show because Batman Beyond was hardcore. He almost kills Blight, but Blight fully mutates into his creepy skeleton form. He's now a green skeleton now, and Victor tries to blow up Gotham City to take them with him. He's now suicidal Mr. Freeze. Terry Batman stops him. They fight Blight together. Blight finally reveals himself in his full mutant form, but he ends up double teamed by Victor and Terry. But the whole building is collapsing. It's falling apart, about to blow. Terry stops the bombing, but Victor decides to stay back and die. Victor has given up on life, given up on redemption, and this is the end of Mr. Freeze's story. He dies in the collapsing building, choosing to die than go on living in a world that hates him, in a world where he can do no more good. Freeze, we have to get out of here. You're gonna die. Believe me, you're the only one who cares. Yeah, really hard-hitting scene. The Egg Baby episode was my least favorite. I knew it. Love the series Batman Beyond, but a real troublesome to understand the timeline of the DCAU. Yeah, continuity got kinda wonky, but Still much better than the X-Men and Transformers movie continuity. But yeah, Mr. Freeze's death scene, really heavy stuff, really hard hitting. Basically, we saw a villain committing suicide. He resigns himself to his fate, decides to stay in the collapsing building because he doesn't want to live anymore. And that is how the DCAU Victor story comes to an end. He realizes that he's become the villain and doesn't want to live with himself anymore, and it is a very sad scene. I actually felt depressed watching this. Terry tells Batman that he was right, and Bruce says, actually, Terry, you were right to believe that there was good in Mr. Freeze. You always see the best in people, but it's so easy to see the worst. That he should have believed in Terry, and that Bruce finally gets some optimism back, that he should start seeing redemption in his villains again. Unfortunately, Mr. Freeze is gone forever, but what a great send-off. This one easily an S tier Mr. Freeze. I like this suit. I like Michael Ansara's performance, and this episode easily in my top 10 Batman Beyond episodes. I'm sorry, Batman the Animated Series fans, but Batman Beyond's Mr. Freeze, easily my favorite of the animated universe. Will he be dethroned? Maybe, but for now he's going on to Sub-Zero. To never again walk on a summer's day with a hot wind in your face and a warm hand to hold. Oh yes, I'd kill for that. Batman Beyond really stuck with the mature formula of the Batman the Animated Series. Both Batman were eventually forced to kill, sexual innuendos, and Batman literally having a heart attack because of age. Yeah, Batman Beyond really rocked, and honestly, I think what made me like it more than the animated series is there's a high kill count on this show. Mr. Freeze was even allowed to kill people on this show, unlike the old 90s cartoon. But yeah, DCAU's Batman Beyond Mr. Freeze gone on to Sub-Zero. Alright, now we gotta talk about the other mixed Mr. Freezes. I might have to knock out Batman Unlimited Mr. Freeze. Yeah, he has a really cool design. Unfortunately, he's going on to Who? Like this look for Victor, but I have not seen the Unlimited show, so I have no idea what he's about. I've only seen Batman Unlimited Animal Instincts. I liked that one. I thought it was a pretty dumb fun movie. These are basically the toy commercial Batman movies, and they brought Mr. Freeze onto the third, and so far I think last one. Like the design, but again, haven't seen it. Yeah, Meltdown was a fantastic Batman Beyond episode. The ending still hits hard. Freeze, come on! The place is coming down! Believe me, you're the only one who cares. Yeah, that scene, really tragic. Ultimate tearjerker scene. If I ever do a top 10 Batman Beyond episodes, that one might be in the top 3. Alright, next I'll also knock off Superman Batman Public Enemies Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Mr. Freeze was in the movie. He's part of the Ice Gang. I do like this design, but unfortunately, he's going on to our first... My computer will overload. Frozen. Yeah, this one, definitely, I would say, a mid-tier Mr. Freeze. Love the design, but he doesn't talk. He shows up with Killer Frost in the Ice Gang. Luthor puts a $1 million bounty on Superman and Batman, and the Ice villains all team up to try to collect it. We see Killer Frost, Captain Cold, Icicle, and of course, Mr. Freeze. It's kind of just a cameo. He doesn't even talk. Honestly, the best part about the Ice villains is we hear Jennifer Hale back as Killer Frost. She kind of does the talking for them, but this Victor actually had a really cool design. That's why he kind of wins points. I do like the weird spaceman kind of Mr. Freeze look. We'll put him onto Frozen. He was a fun cameo. Speaking of which, we should also knock off Batman the Brave and the Bold Mr. Freeze, who looks like George Sanders. Also, unfortunately, going on to Frozen. Yes, Batman the Brave and the Bold had Mr. Freeze for like a handful of cameo appearances. I believe John DiMaggio voiced Mr. Freeze, but he's like not really a main villain in the show. We see him as Mr. Zero in Batmite's Weird Nightmare World. Then he comes back with the Adam West Mr. Freeze redesign. Yeah, this is the suit George Sanders kind of wore. It's honestly fine. He's like holding some of Batman's friends hostage while they exchange stories on what they think Batman's regular life is or something, or their greatest adventures they went with him. He like shows up, tries to execute the other Justice League heroes, only for Batman to show up and save the day. He's there when they're giving a roast for Batman. Yeah, the Legion of Doom tries to roast the Dark Knight, and Mr. Freeze is one of the villains in the audience laughing at the jokes. Then he kind of just cameos in Scooby-Doo meets Batman the Brave and the Bold. Yeah, kind of a mid-tier Mr. Freeze. I like that they brought back the Adam West Mr. Freeze look. Unfortunately, he doesn't do anything, which is why he's going straight smack in the middle. Might as well talk about the Arkhamverse versions of Mr. Freeze, or are you thinking about saving them for last? Might have to save Arkham City Freeze for last. Batman the Brave and the Bold was something. Yeah, I thought it was a great cartoon. It was fun. It was really cool. Love Nika Futterman as Catwoman. Who knew Asajj Ventress would make a great Selina Kyle? Unfortunately, Mr. Freeze was one of the underutilized villains, so he's gone straight smack onto Frozen. I think next we should talk about the other cartoon Mr. Freeze, the Batman Mr. Freeze, anime Mr. Freeze, who... he's not going to go on to S tier, that's for sure, but I might have to stick him on to cool. Yep, this is Clancy Brown's The Batman Mr. Freeze, the really cool ice demon looking Victor Freeze. He had a really awesome design, awesome voice, awesome episodes. Unfortunately, he had a severe lack of character. So, the creators of The Batman didn't want to rehash everything great about the animated series Mr. Freeze because they knew they could not top him, so they decided to do their own reinterpretation of an evil Mr. Freeze. He had a really cool suit. Clancy Brown delivers a chilling voice. Unfortunately, he was all flash and no substance. That was kind of the big issue a lot of people have with him. Mr. Freeze starts out as a really awesome villain in the first 2 seasons. Then, after season 3, he got demoted to basically a minion. He's a minion with ice powers. That's all he amounted to. It was really sad to watch how this guy went from nearly freezing all of Gotham, teaming up with Firefly, to whoring himself out to Lex Luthor and Black Mask. Okay. Yeah, Savage Opress is in this. Yep, he was. Yeah, Clancy Brown, honestly really cool Mr. Freeze, has a really creepy voice. Feeling the cold, Batman. Death is icy cold. Yeah, really brought back the ice puns, but Clancy Brown gives Victor Freeze kind of a creepy serial killer voice. This Mr. Freeze was actually an evil thug. He was basically a generic mercenary. He was an evil thug. He fought the Batman, and in this version, Batman accidentally caused him to suffer the cryogenic accident that mutated him. Victor was like running from a crime job. He was driving like in a car, the Batmobile rammed into him, and he ended up trying to run away only to fall into a cryo chamber, kind of like how the Joker fell into the chemicals. Mr. Freeze tried to escape Batman and Justice, only to turn into the mutant Mr. Freeze. Batman believed he died, but Victor shows back up, now redesigned as the cool ice demon looking Mr. Freeze. So I do like his design. He looks like an ice demon, has like a glacier for a helmet, has these ice gauntlet powers. He does not use the gun. He has like gloves that can shoot the ice beams out of him, which is really cool, but they don't really do anything with him character-wise. We never really get to explore this Mr. Freeze as a character. He doesn't get moments to shine or show personality beyond being the evil ice villain. It kind of sucks because he was like really cool looking, kind of like a Power Ranger villain, but yeah, very basic generic Mr. Freeze. They did not want to retread the animated series Mr. Freeze, but they didn't really find a path to put him on. I do recall he did have one great episode where we cut to the future, like it's the future of The Dark Knight Returns, and Mr. Freeze like cryogenically froze himself so he could reawaken in the future to take over Gotham when Batman no longer existed. But Batman being Batman like left a contingency plan, and they managed to foil super mecha Mr. Freeze. It's a more better version of saying the Spot from Into the Spider-Verse 2. Kind of, kind of. Unfortunately, this Mr. Freeze, I do like his design. He did have good episodes. Clancy Brown was a great choice to play Mr. Freeze, but the show really struggled doing great plots with him. His last great plot was in the season 4 episode where they travel to the future, but other than that, kind of a basic Mr. Freeze. They didn't really redesign him all that much outside of his outfit. He still looks like a blue man underneath the armor. Clancy Brown got to be cool, but didn't flex any personality, lore, or backstory. I felt like the other villains did this better. We got to explore the Joker a lot. Penguin had a lot of traits given to him to make him feel well-rounded, and Catwoman actually had a fun exploration. We got to see what she was like when she didn't have the mask on, and got to see her on a lot of fun thief adventures. This Mr. Freeze, kind of generic villain. I'm gonna have to put him onto cool. I'll give him points for the design and Clancy Brown's performance, but unfortunately the writing is why he's not onto S tier. The Batman Mr. Freeze was mostly unique, and I did like his design well. Unfortunately, the puns go way out of hand. Yeah, Clancy Brown does the ice puns again. To his credit, he does them more threatening than Arnold, but that didn't take away the lameness and corniness. Yeah, this Mr. Freeze, unfortunately going on to cool. It does not help that he also got demoted to a minion in the later seasons. He's like working for Luthor, working for Hugo Strange, working for friggin' Black Mask. Like, Victor kind of lost his credibility as a kick-ass supervillain by becoming a merc. Yeah, he's going on to cool. Alright, let's talk about a fun Mr. Freeze. Let's do Lego Mr. Freeze. Bodhi, I hope you're still watching, because Lego Mr. Freeze going on to Sub-Zero. Yeah, I do have a lot of fond memories of the first Lego Batman game, and Mr. Freeze was one of the fun characters. Mr. Freeze is kind of given a tribute to both the animated series. He looks like the animated series design, but we also have a lot of shout-outs to the Batman and Robin Mr. Freeze, including his base, the Evil Ice Cream Factory, is a level. And they actually managed to make the Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze good in this video game, because I had a lot of fun playing as him. Yeah, really love that they actually did pay tribute to Arnold's Mr. Freeze, mixed with a bit of the animated series Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a part of the Riddler's group and the Riddler's story. The Riddler is trying to rob the First National Bank of Gotham, or I think Second National Bank, because Two-Face is involved. Yeah, Mr. Freeze is teaming up with the Riddler, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, and Clayface. Yeah, they teamed up all the Schumacher villains all together, which is really funny. Mr. Freeze is going there to give Riddler a piece, like a piece to make his invention to successfully rob the bank. And Victor, really fun, loves shooting that ice gun. You can actually freeze Lego minions to death. He has a very weird boss fight, I will say. He has like a bunch of cryogenically frozen girlfriends. Yeah, it's kind of funny. In this video game, Nora is not mentioned or shown at all. He has like a bunch of girlfriends who are frozen in like a bunch of freeze chambers. I guess this Victor Freeze has a harem of ice women. But yeah, he like freezes his hot minion girls and they all fight. You have to dethrone him in an ice cream boss fight. Really fun stuff. Same here, Kat. Loved the Lego Batman games as a kid growing up in the 2000s. Yeah, they were fun. Which Mr. Freeze Lego version do you prefer? I do have a soft spot for this version. I used to have a toy version of this Mr. Freeze. No, it was not from a Lego set. It was from one of those McDonald's giveaways. Yeah, McDonald's had like Lego Batman toys, and I really love that I got Mr. Freeze. He had like an ice gun that could shoot like an ice missile or something. Really fun. This character, really cool design. Loved how they went so hard on making him look like the animated series Freeze, and it was even fun to play as in the games. Victor is like immune to the toxics because he's like immune to toxins because I believe his suit protects him, which was a very useful power. He had the freeze ability. He could also beat up goons very easily, implying that this was the jacked Mr. Freeze like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, this guy going on to Sub-Zero. To make it short, he's a fun character. Which Mr. Freeze Lego version do you prefer? I do have a soft spot for this one because I used to have a toy of him. I think this is also a Lego Mr. Freeze from the Lego Batman movie. I think this is from the Will Arnett Lego Batman movie, Mr. Freeze. Yeah, we'll also get rid of him. He'll go on to, if my computer will load him, he's going on to Frozen. Yeah, I'll put him under Public Enemies, Mr. Freeze. I believe this is the Lego Batman movie, Mr. Freeze. It looks like him. Mr. Freeze is a part of the cameos of Batman villains. Unfortunately, like every other Batman villain who isn't the Joker or Harley Quinn, he just makes a cameo. He's a part of the villains during the Joker's crime spree, fights the Dark Knight, and gets trapped in the weird present cube that the Joker used to trap all the villains, only to be released at the end of the movie to help in the great all-out war against the greatest Lego villains ever. Yeah, I liked his design. It looked really cool, honestly. Unfortunately, he's kind of a non-character. I don't think he even speaks. Like, every other villain got one line, at least. This Mr. Freeze, I don't think he ever talked. Yeah, we'll stick him onto Frozen. He's alright, along with all the other Lego Batman villains. A funny cameo, and love seeing every Batman villain ever, but as a character, he's definitely going on to, like, B or C. Alright, oh, remember this, Mr. Freeze, people? Dark Tomorrow, Mr. Freeze. And if you remember Batman Dark Tomorrow, it is not a good game, so I don't think anyone's gonna argue with me when I put him onto Absolute Zero. Yeah, so Dark Tomorrow sadly had so much potential. I could see this being a good Batman game, kind of like an Arkham series game. Unfortunately, they did not have the talent or technological know-how to make this into a fun, fully functional game. This is Dark Tomorrow, Mr. Freeze, and his design is cool. Unfortunately, they did not get the character right, and his boss fight is easily one of the worst in the entire game. Yeah, does anybody remember Dark Tomorrow, Mr. Freeze? He shows up in, like, I believe the Arkham Asylum fight or something. Batman has to fight him, and his level is very hard. A lot of annoying ice shots. You get frozen, have to break out. He freezes you, you get frozen in a block, have to break out. Dark Tomorrow was a bat crap game, that was, yeah. What a bat crap game that was. Okay, yeah. Yeah, big surprise. Dark Tomorrow, Mr. Freeze, going with the other zeros. Not a good interpretation of the character, and the voice acting was garbage. They got no one to do a good Batman character on this video game, and Victor was definitely one of the victims. Going on to Absolute Zero. Alright, next, we'll do Justice League Action, Mr. Freeze. Okay, Justice League Action, Mr. Freeze. Going on to Cool. So, Justice League Action, pretty underrated, dumb, fun show. They had Mr. Freeze for like 2 episodes, but they got friggin' Peter Stormare to voice him. Yeah, it was kind of weird. Peter Stormare voices Mr. Freeze, but I honestly think he did a good job. This is not at all the tragic Mr. Freeze. This is full-blown, irredeemable villain Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze, once again, wants to freeze the entire world. He's built a Zeppelin with a super-duper ice gun that'll freeze all of the city and spread across the world. And Mr. Freeze teams up with Killer Frost. Yeah, I kind of like Killer Frost looks like Liara in this show. It's really weird. She looks like a Crystal Liara Tassoni. They gave, like, Killer Frost this hair that looks like spikes, but it made her look like an Asari. Killer Frost teams up with Mr. Freeze because Killer Frost actually has a fangirl crush on Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Killer Frost wants to be Mr. Freeze's Ice Queen girlfriend. She wants to take over the world with him. She has like a fangirl crush on Mr. Freeze. He's her hero, her inspiration, why she wanted to become an ice villain. And while this is happening, Batman's teamed up with Firestorm. Firestorm has a crush on Killer Frost because they were an actual couple in the comics. Peter Stormare honestly does a fine job voicing Mr. Freeze, gives him a creepy German accent. This is very much a more darker Mr. Freeze. He wants to freeze the world, kill everyone. Nora does not exist in this cartoon, so they're not doing the sympathetic Mr. Freeze. This is full-blown evil Iceman Mr. Freeze. He and Killer Frost work together, but in a twist, haha, Mr. Freeze betrays Killer Frost. He needs her as a battery powering his ice machine. And this is why this Mr. Freeze is really dark. He wanted to use Killer Frost and manipulated her and her emotions and feelings for him to trick her into becoming a living battery, powering his ice cannon. And Mr. Freeze goes around shooting the world, while Killer Frost is left kind of heartbroken and completely backstabbed by her own hero. And it kind of leads towards her falling for Firestorm, because if you don't know, Firestorm and Killer Frost were a couple in the comics. Like, Firestorm has a crush on Killer Frost, and there's this theme that, oh, you shouldn't crush on people who don't reciprocate your feelings. Like, he wants to be with Killer Frost. Killer Frost hates him. Killer Frost wants to be with Mr. Freeze, but Mr. Freeze sees her as an expendable pawn. Killer Frost ends up being saved by Firestorm, and Batman and Victor have an epic showdown. Killer Frost ends up getting her woman scorn moment against Victor. Victor is arrested, and Killer Frost actually gets away, but implies that she's growing feelings for Firestorm. Like, she's still a villain, but she's actually grateful that Firestorm saved her and realizes, hey, maybe I should start going out with nice guys instead. What did I miss? Hey, Bat Kid, we're on Justice League Action, Mr. Freeze. Going from Dracula in the Batman to now Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Peter Stormare honestly did a pretty good Mr. Freeze. Then he shows up in one of the Ice Villain episodes. I don't think they got Peter Stormare to voice him this time. It's like another voiceless cameo. Wow, I see. So it's kind of like the Joker. Hi, Kat. Hey, Akira. Sorry I'm late. Like, family problems. It's okay, Bat Kid and Akira. Glad you made it. Glad you sorted things out. You missed us talk about Lego, Mr. Freeze. We're on Justice League Action, Mr. Freeze, who I thought was pretty cool. Peter Stormare delivers a really cool, icy performance. Kind of like a creepy serial killer, galactic conqueror, Mr. Freeze. Honestly, I wish I could say more, but the show unfortunately got canceled, and Mr. Freeze only ended up having 2 appearances, one of them voiceless, because Peter Stormare is very expensive, but I think he did a pretty great job. We'll put him on to cool. I did like this episode because they made Killer Frost actually well-rounded. Victor was kind of the toxic boyfriend towards Killer Frost. He was using her, playing nice with her, and at the end of the day, he was willing to sacrifice her as an expendable pawn in his conquest to take over the world. And Killer Frost hints that she wants to start dating Firestorm now, realizing that she should start dating nice guys instead of ice guys. Yeah, okay, we'll put him on to cool. Speaking of which, I suppose we should also cross off the animated Adam West Mr. Freeze, who unfortunately also going on to Frozen. This is once again a cameo. In the Adam West Batman show, they made anniversary movies, Return of the Caped Crusader, and Batman vs. Two-Face, and Mr. Freeze is one of the cameos in them. They assemble all of Batman's villains to stop the evil Batman clone army, and Victor, of course, shows up. This is from a crowd shot. Victor shows up, fights evil clone Batman with his ice cannon, and gets taken out. Then he shows up again in cameos in Batman vs. Two-Face. It's pretty funny seeing him cameo in the background. Unfortunately, he's also a non-character, so he's going right smack in the middle onto Frozen. Let's get the Gotham one out of the way. Alright, you want that one? Alright. Anyways, cameo, it's fun, but just fine. Going on to Frozen. Alright, let's do it. Let's talk about Gotham, Mr. Freeze. So, Wolf and I loved the Gotham show, and we were so hyped to see Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is built up as one of the biggest villains during I believe, the rise of the supervillain saga, or the season of Gotham, and they introduce a younger Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is, what else, trying to find a cure for his dying wife. Nora is actually still alive and still conscious in this version, but she's suffering the early stages of her fatal disease, and Victor kind of moonlights as an evil supervillain slash serial killer, going on a rampage, stealing money and stealing stuff to try and make a cure for her. And his first two-parter is awesome. Unfortunately, every episode after that really ruined Mr. Freeze, and so he's going on to absolute zero. Why can't we have live streams? Be right back. That doesn't last more than a lot of minutes. Nathan Darrow is an American actor. He portrays Victor Freeze on Gotham. Yeah, that's him, Nathan Darrow. Okay. I was so let down by Gotham Mr. Freeze that it hurts. He had an amazing two-parter where we get introduced to Victor Freeze. He's trying to save Nora. We find out Nora's actually alive in this version. Nora is still conscious, interacting with her husband, believes he's out there trying to do good. I believe Victor is like working at a medical facility, but secretly like stealing cryogenic chemicals, building freeze cannons, and moonlighting as a supervillain, trying to steal the money and get the stuff to cure his wife. Nora finds out that he's evil all along. The Gotham police investigate, and Nora actually kills herself. Yeah, Nora gets the cure, but finds out Victor killed a lot of people and did a lot of ill misdeeds over the course of a few weeks to get it to her. Nora can't live with what her husband's become, so she kills herself with a weird CGI death scene. Like, I believe, like, she sabotaged the cure and tries to do a murder-suicide with Victor. She ends up turning into, like, a fragile statue, then completely breaks apart. Victor can't live without Nora, so he decides to kill himself, and we believe he's dead, but we find out in a twist ending that he only mutated himself into Mr. Freeze, and Hugo Strange is keeping him alive, convincing him to work with him as a minion. He would help cure his condition, and Victor would do favors for him in exchange for favors, basically. And Victor's character went downhill from this point onward. He basically became a minion with an ice gimmick. I mean, don't get it twisted, this version has the look down, but it's still bad. He played John Custer in Preacher and Scott Gleacher in Law & Order. Never saw either of those. Okay, I was so let down by what Gotham did with Mr. Freeze. He started out as the great compelling character like he was on the animated series. Then they gave him a really stupid look. I'm not a fan of this appearance. He looks kind of like Eli Wallach from the Adam West Batman show, but with a modern update. They gave him like icicle hair. He looks like the brain freezer from Johnny Test. Hugo builds him the high-tech suit to keep him alive, oddly without the helmet, because I guess they wanted to give Darrow like a voice to speak with. Still like to watch the series, but is bad, but a good kind of bad. Like, where's his helmet? Like, his design. Really bad design. Like Kite Man, but with ice. Gotham Freeze was unfortunately wasted. Yeah, that's what I didn't like about him. Victor basically became a minion with an ice gimmick. He's a henchman working for the real villains. Victor is a mercenary using his freeze tech and abilities to help the real characters who matter. He works for Hugo Strange, he works for the Court of Owls, he works for the Penguin, he works for friggin' Barbara Gordon when she becomes a mob boss, he works for literally everyone but himself, and it sucks. It really sucks. Mr. Freeze just became a side character, a minion with an ice gimmick. He goes around, uses his powers whenever the plot demands. His biggest contribution to the series is he freezes the Penguin and he kills Girl Killer Croc. Yeah, my brother Wolf did not forgive the series for doing this. We meet like a female Killer Croc, and Wolf was actually a fan of this girl, but Victor shows up, kills her with a smile on his face because Victor likes to kill people in this show. Then he just walks off and works for every other villain. He shows up at like Legion of Doom meetings, and they pretend that he's off doing his own thing. He's in the No Man's Land War for Turf. We see he has his ice villains, but this character does not matter. After his debut two-parter, he does not matter. He shows up as basically a henchman working for the real characters, the real villains, and Victor gets no compelling development or story arc from this point onward. He just shows up as an ice-themed henchman. I don't know I don't know why even Barbara is evil in this. Plus, just like the Nolan trilogy, she's supposed to be Jim Gordon's wife. I guess she was kind of a stand-in for James Gordon Jr. If you don't know, Jim Gordon's son became a psychotic serial killer in the comics. Like Kite Man, but with ice, yeah, basically. I also do not like his design. It looked very out of place, even on Gotham. He wears like a high-tech spacesuit like Arnold, but doesn't even wear the damn helmet. He still has the goggles, and they kept his hair. Victor has like icicles for hair. He looks like the brain freezer from Johnny Test. That's all I could think of looking at him. He's not cool, he's not well written, and Darrow's talent's completely wasted. I think Darrow actually is a good actor, but he got nothing to do on this show but look like a glorified minion. Yeah, Barbara Gordon as a mob boss, that was a weird plot turn. But this Mr. Freeze, do not like him. Gotham wasted their Mr. Freeze. He is an absolute zero. He is easily one of the worst villains Gotham ever done dirty. Like Cat, is there a Boiling Isles version of you? Probably. Alright, let's also knock off Justice League Gods and Monsters, Mr. Freeze. Yeah, if you don't recognize this guy, this is Mr. Freeze from an Elseworld, the Justice League Gods and Monsters movie. Good movie, but their Mr. Freeze is kind of just an expendable character who dies. This Victor, going on to Frozen. Yeah, so Victor shows up and he's one of the scientists who gets murdered by the Metal Men. There's a large, like, looming mystery that somebody's going around the Elseworlds of DC, murdering all the top scientists and smartest minds of the DC universe. We find out it's really the Metal Men going around assassinating characters, and this is Victor Freeze. It's actually like a twist that this guy is Mr. Freeze. Victor is now a normal scientist working at an Arctic outpost. He's like doing his daily routine procedures only to get attacked and assaulted by the Metal Men. The Metal Men look like Geth Power Rangers in this movie, which is honestly a really cool design. We see like this old scientist dude going out, being chased. It's kind of like a horror movie, slasher movie type of scenario. He gets chased by monsters, ends up killed by them, and we see his ID that he's this universe's Victor Freeze. Victor Freeze was one of the brilliant scientists, and he dies, Ray Palmer dies, Bumblebee dies, Dr. Savannah dies. All of the smartest characters of DC are getting killed by the Metal Men to frame the Justice League of this universe, and that's kind of the end of Victor's role. He's a horror movie victim. Really fun cameo, but unfortunately a non-character, so he's going on to Frozen. Yeah, the Psycho Metal Rangers. Like I see Ghost the cat looks like you. Like, are you related? Possibly. I'll have to see him again. Yeah, murder victim Mr. Freeze going on to Frozen. Alright, so got a lot of Mr. Freezes left. We're on our final line, but I gotta use my first restroom break, so cast your vote on who you want to see next. Got a lot of Victors to choose from. I'll be right back. Freeze! That's Mr. Freeze to you. Hey everyone, Cat's back. What'd you guys vote for? Injustice or Harley Quinn cartoon Mr. Freeze? Harley Quinn series Mr. Freeze? Arkhamverse for last. Okay. Let's do TMNT Mr. Freeze. Save it for last. Okay. Alright, looks like we got the majority vote for Harley Quinn Mr. Freeze, played by Doc Ock, Alfred Molina. This Mr. Freeze, believe it or not, going on to Sub-Zero. Yeah, I'll put him under the animated series Mr. Freeze. This is the Harley Quinn show's Mr. Freeze, and this may shock a lot of you and blow your minds, but they actually did an amazing Mr. Freeze. Yeah, the friggin' Harley Quinn show, the parody of the DC universe, actually gave a lot of love for their Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is one of the villains that takes over Gotham City during the No Man's Land arc. We see Alfred Molina as Mr. Freeze, and Molina is pretty funny. He's really talented, captures the dramatic Mr. Freeze, and has a bit of comedy to him as well. A lot of more like straight-faced deadpan comedy, but comedy nonetheless. They made him look like the animated series Mr. Freeze, but gave him that weird mohawk, I'm not sure why. Victor Freeze is basically exactly like the animated series Mr. Freeze. He's a tragic villain. He's a lot more friendlier than the other supervillains. Harley Quinn basically failed to save Gotham City, and they turned it into a no man's land. Just need some water. I believe it. Many of the villains, including Freeze, were surprisingly well done. At least more of the earlier seasons, anyway. Hey, Yara. Ah, yeah. Save it for last. Like, it looked cool. He saved his wife like Gabriel Agreste. Okay, so what made this Mr. Freeze so good is that not only is he cool, badass, and Alfred Molina knocking this role out of the park, but they actually did it. They gave Mr. Freeze a happy ending. Mr. Freeze works with Harley Quinn. They think he's an evil, unsympathetic villain at first, keeping Nora hostage. They release Nora from her cryotube, but we find out that, oh, she actually was dying from a fatal illness, and Victor gives his life to help Nora live. And yeah, the villains actually have a heartwarming reconciliation moment where Harley Quinn undergoes character development, seeing that Mr. Freeze's love for Nora is true. It is passionate. Harley Quinn has been so used to seeing the evils that men do, being in toxic relationships and such, that she is actually moved seeing that Victor and Nora have a healthy relationship, and convinces her that she might be able to obtain that one day. They help Victor. Victor gives a blood transfusion to Nora, and Nora is actually saved. Nora lives, she's normal, she's healthy, she becomes kind of a reoccurring character in the show, but tragically Victor dies, and he's given this weird hero's send-off. He's treated with respect, treated like a actual good man on the show, and Victor and Nora's romance is treated as this very healthy, loving thing. Unfortunately, Nora Freeze herself would be butchered in later seasons, but Mr. Freeze was actually done great on this show. I am legit surprised. They actually gave Victor a mature, serious send-off, actual funny moments, actual heartwarming moments, and a really dazzling episode that shows you that love can be obtained even by somebody like Mr. Freeze. The only good part of the Harley Quinn show, or at least the one part the writers didn't mess up. Yeah, Nora actually is saved by this Mr. Freeze. Like it's cool that he saved his wife, like it's like cool like he saved his wife other than Gabriel Agreste, like he used his blood transfer with magic to bring his wife back, which he should have done ages ago. Yeah, the earlier seasons of Harley Quinn are honestly pretty decent. Seasons 1 and 2 are my favorite. Unfortunately, when they ruined Kite Man's wedding, the show went downhill for me. How ironic, about as ironic as Arnold Vosloo and Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. Like, this beats Hawkmoth's redemption arc? Absolutely, because it didn't take 5 years to finish it. In your face, Gabriel Agreste. Yeah, less can be said about Nora Freeze. Moving on to Captain Cold. Mr. Freeze died a hero. Yeah, that's what made him so good. Alfred Molina was pretty funny, though. I can only assume they killed him off early because Molina is admittedly expensive and a very high-profile actor. He would probably not come back as a recurring character on the Harley Quinn show. But yeah, Victor actually has a nice send-off. He surrenders his land to Harley Quinn, and Nora gets to live happily ever after, and then she becomes a total unlikable whore in future seasons. Yeah, Nora is kind of ruined by the show, but Victor, definitely one of the highlights. Going on to Sub-Zero. So after Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze, who should we do next? I guess we should knock off Injustice, Mr. Freeze. I believe this is him. Yeah, Mr. Freeze is in Injustice 2 as a DLC skin, so get paying those microtransactions. Mr. Freeze is actually a skin for Captain Cold, and I actually might put him onto Cool. We'll put him low onto Cool because he's technically not a character in the game, but it's pretty fun playing as Mr. Freeze in a fighting game. Yeah, NetherRealm Studios kind of cheaped out on us and made a DLC skin for Captain Cold. Captain Cold was the chosen ice villain for Injustice 2, but Victor Freeze is a DLC character. You can pay for his skin and play as him. He has the exact same fighting moves as Captain Cold. No, he does not have his own arcade ending. They did not input that. We'll do TMNT versus Batman Freeze next. Jim Puri played him. Why, Riders, why all Gordon had to do is wait till after the wedding. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Freeze died a hero. Unfortunately, Nora got ruined by the Harley Quinn show. I never thought I'd see the day where Nora Freeze was butchered by a DC show. But yeah, Harley Quinn got pretty bad. Anyways, Injustice Mr. Freeze, just a fun DLC character. Even his super move is the exact same as Captain Cold. He shoots multiple gunshots of his ice cannon at opponents, then crushes them with a glacier. Yeah, exact same movesets. I kind of wish they explored Mr. Freeze in an Injustice game, but no, he's just a bonus skin. Also, he did a My Little Pony reference for Harley Quinn dialogues. I don't remember that. I have to rewatch that episode. I kind of put the Harley Quinn show aside. Yeah, Injustice Mr. Freeze, pretty cool playing as him. I also think this Mr. Freeze is also another Injustice skin. I think they're both on here. I think this is like the Injustice card that you can play in the iOS version. Yeah, I'll also put him onto Frozen. Yeah, Mr. Freeze shows up as an assist card in the iOS version of the Injustice games. I believe this is him. It looks like him. Like Injustice did say Twilight Sparkle. He's also well known for playing David Vega and Victorious. Oh, he's Tori's dad. Okay. Regis Lucius Calum in Final Fantasy 15. Okay. Yeah, okay, no disrespect to Jim Puri, but he's just a DLC skin. I think this is the iOS, bonus assist card of Mr. Freeze. Put him onto Frozen. Once again, kind of a non-character in the game, but just a fun feature. Okay, so somebody wants Batman versus TMNT, Mr. Freeze. The Polar Bear, Mr. Freeze. This one, really awesome. I actually might put him onto Sub-Zero. Okay, so Batman vs. TMNT, really epic, underrated crossover. Mr. Freeze shows up in what else? The Arkham Asylum breakout. So, Ra's al Ghul and the Shredder give the Joker a vial of mutagen in exchange for his Joker toxin recipe. And Joker stages a breakout at Arkham Asylum by mutating all of Batman's greatest supervillains into mutant monsters. Mr. Freeze becomes a polar bear with an ice beam. And yeah, that is awesome. That is really cool. Mr. Freeze is kind of in full-blown villain mode, but I'm willing to accept that because this was a really fun idea. Sorry, just checking the comments. Read that one. Yeah, sorry for the dead silence. Yeah, this Polar Bear Freeze was awesome. I'll show you cool. One of the unique reskins of Injustice 2. There was also Vixen, who can take the place of Cheetah, Power Girl for Supergirl, yeah, I know that, love Power Girl, Bizarro for Superman, and the Reverse Flash for Flash. Yeah, that's total BS that the Reverse Flash is behind a paywall for Injustice 2. Bat Wheels, we'll do them after. Yeah, Polar Bear Mr. Freeze is awesome. Which one did he fight? I believe he fought Michelangelo and Damian Wayne. Yeah, so Mr. Freeze becomes a polar bear, and he still has his ice cannon and stuff attached to him. Not sure how his goggles are still attached to his bear face, but yeah, Mr. Freeze is like a giant unstoppable polar bear, shooting his ice beam and making ice puns, and it is fun. He is so awesome. He does say his ice puns, they like throw bombs at him, and they barely even leave a scratch on him. Well, I think a real bear might be hurt by that. I do kind of find it funny that he's a polar bear. Really missed opportunity to have Mr. Freeze drink a Coke or something. Let me guess, they wanted to add Mr. Freeze but couldn't think of how to add him into the story, so they just made him an skin in Injustice. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, Bat-Kid. Also, Nostalgia Critic made a Coca-Cola joke for Mr. Freeze. Yeah, that was funny. Like, feels like a scrap Power Rangers villain in Jungle Fury. Quite fitting that he mutates into a polar bear. More better than the mutant in Jurassic World Rebirth, especially the Mutadons. Yeah. Reminds me of a Club Penguin polar bear villain. Yeah, kind of. I remember Mikey fights him. He is actually one of the more unstoppable villains next to Catboy Bane. Really fun villain. He eventually gets pounded by the Man-Bat Batman. And yeah, it's just a fun idea. He's not a major character in the movie, he's a part of the mutant army, but this is one of the greatest mutations among them. Much better than Poison Ivy's mutation, that's for sure. But we'll put him onto Sub-Zero. Just a dumb fun idea that they really knocked out of the park. TMNT crossover Damian is better than the DC animated movie universe movies version. Yeah, that Damian sucked. Like Bender's actor played him. Okay, it was John DiMaggio. I wasn't certain if it was him. I thought they got Maurice LaMarche again. Yeah, John DiMaggio plays him. Gives him a really chilling voice, which is very appropriate. But yeah, the polar bear Mr. Freeze, easily S tier. A very fun idea. Hope to see more of the mutant versions of the Batman villains up here on S tier. Mr. Freeze might be our first one. He is cool. Alright, let's take off Bat Wheels, Mr. Freeze, who is sadly going on to who? Yeah, I know of Bat Wheels, but I never watched it. Mr. Freeze is on Bat Wheels, and they made him a black guy. I have no idea why when he's supposed to be a frozen Iceman mutant, but yeah, Mr. Freeze is a black dude now, because we're gonna spread diversity by making Batman psychotic supervillains different races. Yeah, doesn't that make you feel happy or represented? Okay, so never watched Bat Wheels. I know he has like a talking ice cream truck who fights the other Bat vehicles, but that's about it. Never watched the show entirely, but Mr. Freeze going on to who? Club Penguin had lore? It did once. Bane mutates into a Jaguar Luchador one at that, yeah. Reggie Davis played him. Okay. Really narrowing down our Mr. Freezes. I think we should knock out Young Justice, Mr. Freeze. Yeah, remember Mr. Freeze was on Young Justice. This is him in the full armor. This one, going on to Frozen. Yeah, I got a lot on Frozen, but Young Justice Mr. Freeze, voiced by Keith Zajerbach, I might be butchering that name. Yeah, he had like 2 episodes, maybe 3, but one was a cameo. Young Justice Mr. Freeze was fine. He was just fine. In the Young Justice show, Mr. Freeze is a part of the Ice Villain Gang. He's working with Icicle, Killer Frost, and Captain Cold. He's one of the few that actually got a voice actor. He's in the pilot launching the misdirection villain scheme. All the ice villains are attacking, the heroes are fighting them, and the sidekicks go off to do their own thing, unintentionally uncovering the Cadmus story arc. They like break into like a Cadmus building and they find Superboy. Mr. Freeze gets beaten up off screen, only to come back in the Prison Break episode. Miss Martian and Superboy like go undercover by posing as the Terror Twins, and they find out the ice villains are launching an entire prison break. Though, unfortunately, Mr. Freeze is not as important. Mr. Freeze is kind of a goon working for Icicle. Yeah, we meet Icicle and his stupid son, Icicle Sr. Killer Frost is the female villain. Killer Frost is more so the second in command. Mr. Freeze is definitely in on the gang. He's on the boys' side of the Belle Rev prison, and he suspects something's off about the Terror Twin that Superboy is posing as. Keith finally gets some lines in this episode. He was pretty fine. He has like a cool helmet he wears over himself, but not the full ice suit when in prison. Batwheels Mr. Freeze has an ice cream truck named Snowy. Isn't his skin supposed to be as cold as ice and look it too? Yeah, it's supposed to be, but I don't know why they wanted to make Mr. Freeze a black nerd or something. Keith Zajer-Bakjaka is an American actor. He's probably best known for playing Mickey Cosmayer in The Equalizer. I know Keith played the bodyguard on The Dark Knight. He's the guy who's locked in the cell with Heath Ledger's Joker, and Joker's like taunting him, telling him, you know, some people reveal their true selves when they're dying. You want to know which of your friends were cowards? And Keith is the guard that Joker is trying to basically taunt and bully. Yeah, that's actually the guy who voices this Mr. Freeze. He apparently appears in the DC a lot as a lot of bit roles. He was that prison guard that Heath Ledger Joker taunts, then takes hostage. He kind of got an upgrade playing Mr. Freeze. Unfortunately, this Victor didn't get to do much. He's a part of a misdirection scheme. They're defeated by the Real League. Then they launch the prison breakout, and Icicle is kind of the real ringleader of the Ice Gang. Victor is there, and he's eventually tricked into fighting Icicle Jr. Icicle Jr. is falling for Superboy's lies. They're like prison buddies. And he gets his helmet smashed and is forced to basically freeze himself or he'll die without it. And that's kind of the last we saw of him. I think he made like one more cameo, but yeah, we're gonna have to put him onto Frozen. He's fine, he's there. He shows you that this is involving the entire DC universe, but doesn't really get like a spotlight episode or anything. Basically another glorified minion, but I liked him a lot more than Gotham's Mr. Freeze. It would not be a bad idea if his voice actor was African American, but his appearance should look as pale as ice. I agree. And his first voice actor was African American. Michael Ansara, who played him in the animated series, was actually a black guy. Yeah, he was a black guy voicing an old white dude, and nobody had a problem with it, because Ansara's great performance really shined through. Too bad the Icicle Gang don't start a frozen dairy treat shop like the Flash and Superhero Girl's second one to earn money that way. Yeah, it should match the character's look. He played Laserbeak in Transformers Dark of the Moon. That's right, he was in that. Bracelet Cobra in Batman Beyond, Trigon in Teen Titans, the episode Nevermore. He was actually a cooler Trigon voice than Kevin Michael Richardson. Oh, and he was the Warden on G.I. Joe Renegades. I'll have to listen to him again. And Ironhide in War for Cybertron. Oh, really epic role. And Flameslinger and Skylander's Spyro Adventures. Okay, this guy's been in a lot of great stuff. Wish he got to do more as Mr. Freeze, though. For now, he's going on to Frozen. Next, I'll bump off DC Superhero Girls Mr. Freeze, who, going on to another Frozen. Yeah, I know, starting to get repetitive by this point, but what can I say? They don't really do anything much with Mr. Freeze. This is the DC Superhero Girls Mr. Freeze, voiced by Q, John Delancey. Yeah, he voices Mr. Freeze for like 2 appearances, and that's about it. He looks cool. He resembles his animated series counterpart. He fights Batgirl once, I believe in the late Batsby or the episode. He didn't really stand out or do anything. He's a cool ice villain, and that's about it. I suppose John Delancey was going to get a bigger episode or role eventually, but they weren't able to commit to him. It's just kind of a cameo going on to Frozen. Apparently, Icicle Jr. was invited to Superboy and Miss Martian's wedding and may have been his best man, but I don't remember. I do remember he did congratulate Superboy and McGann getting together in one of the seasons, but he was kind of envious because he had a crush on Miss Martian. Tavaros and Halo Infinite. Alright, John Delancey, really kick-ass actor, but didn't get to do much. He's, once again, a cameo. He's a guy that the Supergirls fight, and that's about it. Going's right smack in the middle. Not good, but also not bad. Trying to remember who this Mr. Freeze is. Somebody help me who this one is next to the Arkham City Mr. Freeze. For now, I think we'll bump off Gotham Knights Mr. Freeze. Oh, Gotham Knights. Does anyone remember that this game even had Mr. Freeze? Mr. Freeze is a side mission. And for that reason, he's going on to, he's melting. Yes, Mr. Freeze is in that forgettable Gotham Knights video game. Gotham Knights is the game about Batman's sidekicks trying to protect Gotham City without Batman. Batman is killed off in the start of the game in the world's longest cutscene, and Mr. Freeze is a side mission. Yeah, he's not even the real antagonist or a major player. He's a side mission. They gave him a cool design, but the voice actor kind of generic. Mr. Freeze wants to freeze Gotham City. Because that is the only plot these people keep thinking of. He's either doing it for Nora or wants to freeze the world. He wants to freeze Gotham City, and you can stop him as any of the sidekicks, as Batgirl, Red Hood, Robin, or Nightwing. And Mr. Freeze, not given too much depth in this game. He is very unimportant. They made Mr. Freeze a side mission, which is a real shame because he actually looks pretty cool. Didn't even bother with Gotham Knights while the game and the CW trash shows. Yeah, the Gotham Knights show is crap. I heard some people like the video game. I tried it, but it was not for me. I kind of gave up halfway through because the cutscenes lasted an eternity, and the driving around Gotham City got really tedious. That's right, Keith was also Harbinger in Mass Effect 2. I am assuming direct control. Yeah, Donald Chang plays this Mr. Freeze, and I have not seen him in a lot of stuff, so kind of an obscure actor. He does a fine job acting-wise. The writing does not support him. Mr. Freeze has a giant, stupid spider droid tank, which he's riding around in the frozen parts of Gotham. He's a side quest, and that is a complete spit in the face towards Mr. Freeze. He's a side quest villain. Yeah, Arkham Knight made him a side quest villain too, but he was kind of added last minute, so it made sense, and his conclusion was very heartwarming and touching. This Mr. Freeze, he's given up on life. He's a suicidal Mr. Freeze. He's going to kill the entire world, telling the sidekicks, oh, you should have left me for dead. You shouldn't have saved me. And they defeat him from freezing the entire city of Gotham in a side quest because the Court of Owls story was the real campaign. And yeah, kind of a shame Victor didn't get to play a big part of it, but he's going on to he's melting because he is a very lackluster Mr. Freeze. Gotham Knights is forgettable, and a lot of people forget Mr. Freeze was even in that game. Donald Chang, known for To New Beginnings, Get a Real Job, and Scenes from the Underground. Okay, never heard of those. At least in that game, they treat Batman's death and this more serious than Kill the Justice League. Seriously, they got these games backwards. Yeah, absolutely. So, Gotham Knights is better than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, but it's only because it's the least worse compared to it. Don't get me started on that game. So much wasted potential. Gotham Knights should have been one of the greatest hits of video game history. It had so much potential, but ended up an utter disappointment. Yeah, agree. Both the show and game is crappy. Yeah. Like, isn't that Batman Telltale, Mr. Freeze? He's right here. I'm talking about this one in between Telltale Freeze and Arkham City. Somebody remind me who this one is. I'm not getting a solid memory on who he was. I think he might be from the DC Universe Online video game, but that's just a theory. Yeah, it should have been Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown. Absolutely. But no, they got Barbara, Dick, Jason Todd, who's a good Red Hood in this game, and yeah, Tim Drake is still Robin. At least he's better than Damian. Alright, let's also knock off Matthew Mercer's Mr. Freeze. Yep, made it to the Telltale series. I was actually legit shocked that the Telltale Batman universe was going to include Mr. Freeze at all. The Telltale games is mostly a grounded Batman story, so they brought in Mr. Freeze, played by Leon Kennedy himself, Matthew Mercer. And, oh boy, I love Matthew Mercer, but he was horribly miscast as Mr. Freeze. This Victor, going on to... He's melting. Yeah, I'll put him above Gotham Knights, Mr. Freeze, that's for sure. Too bad Batman Arkham City isn't on here, only Arkham Knight. I think, yeah, it kind of looks like his Arkham Knight suit. I think it was supposed to be his Arkham City suit, but they kind of morphed it as one. Telltale Freeze could have been more, but he's overall meh. Yeah, that's kind of my problem with him. Mr. Freeze is a part of Harley Quinn's pact. They're basically the Legion of Doom. Bruce goes undercover and finds out that John Doe is in league with all these great supervillains. He's working with Harley Quinn as the leader, Joker is in this, Bane is in this, and Mr. Freeze is a part of the pact. Catwoman is also in there, but we find that out later. Matthew Mercer, not a good Mr. Freeze. For one, he sounds way too young. Matthew Mercer has a very young-sounding voice, and he tries to do a German accent. Mr. Freeze is supposed to be a lot older. Like, he's supposed to be like a much older guy compared to all the other supervillains. Mercer sounds way too light, way too young, like he's a college student version of Mr. Freeze, despite Nora and Victor being a married couple in this version too. Yeah, basically we kind of repeat all the same beats. He's doing this for Nora. Nora's cryotube is there. Mr. Freeze is very much obsessed with his wife, to the point of killing just to get a cure for her. He's working with Harley Quinn's goons because they're trying to steal the Lazarus Project. They want to steal this vial, which can cure all their ailments. Victor wants to cure his mutation and save his dying wife, Nora. This is a much more anger-prone Mr. Freeze, which was kind of refreshing. Like, if Bruce tries talking to him about Nora, he, like, loses it and demands, give me a reason why I shouldn't kill you. He's murdering goons, freezing people to death. Victor does not have the ice gun. He has ice gauntlets. Anything he touches freezes. He needs basically physical contact to freeze people, which kind of nerfed him a lot, but they also give him like a stun rod. I'm not sure why. Victor has like a shock stun stick or something. He can like shock opponents. He fights Batman with it, and it was kind of lame. You get rid of the freeze gun for a stun stick and a ice gauntlet. That felt like a downgrade for Mr. Freeze. Like, that's weird to hire Yusuke Kagawa's actor for Mr. Freeze. DC Universe, is that the one, like, where, yeah, online? I think that's him. Did you know Signal, aka Duke Thomas, was supposed to be Robin before Damian became Robin, but DC decided to go the route they did in the comics? I did not know that. Like, I see him as meh. Like, Wednesday, I see Jigoku Sensei Newbie episode 10, like Chuchu episode, with about the 100 yokai parade with old stuff into creatures, and having a sad ending at the dump. Did Victor and Nora get married as teenagers or something in this version? Yeah, Matthew Mercer sounds way too young. He is supposed to be the adult, older Mr. Freeze, but Mercer's voice does not match. Out of all the actors in the Telltale series, Mercer was horribly miscast in this role. He is not Mr. Freeze. He does a lot of good roles. I love him as Leon Kennedy, love him as Tigra, loved him on Regular Show as Sure Shot, but Victor Freeze is not one of his best characters. Mercer's voice just doesn't match the character. He doesn't sound like Mr. Freeze, he doesn't act like Mr. Freeze, and Telltale's writing was definitely interesting. They do some new stuff with their Mr. Freeze, but also rehash a lot of his past that we've seen before, but they don't really have him amount to anything more. Highly agree, Leon's voice actor in this was very miscasted. Absolutely. Mercer could do a lot of roles greatly. Mr. Freeze was not one of them. I think this might be one of Matthew Mercer's weakest roles. Worst, questionable, but definitely not a good casting. Though, I thought the design was alright. They give Mr. Freeze kind of tech armor. He looks like a Tron soldier. His shock stick, very dumb, I would say. I'd like the Freeze gauntlet. He was a threatening Mr. Freeze. This Victor is not afraid to kill people. So, after you fight him as Batman, Batman defeats the Pact, stops them from stealing like the Lazarus bile. Harley Quinn manages to escape, but Victor is infected and he's locked in like a safety chamber or something. He's like locked in between after he was exposed to a virus, and you're given the telltale choice of whether or not to show mercy towards Victor Freeze. Victor offers to give Batman intel. If you adjust the temperature stats, Victor now needs like cold temperatures to live, and if you can decrease the monitor, he won't die. And I've never met anyone who picked the option to kill Mr. Freeze and let him suffer. Yeah, basically you have to make a telltale choice. He tells you Harley Quinn's evil plan and where to find her, what the Project Lazarus can actually do. And yeah, I always show him mercy. I have the temperature decrease and put him in the freeze chamber, basically. He becomes frozen and he thanks Batman for showing him mercy. If you don't do this, then he vows he'll kill the Batman and become his greatest enemy. Basically, sequel baiting him in the future. We might see Victor Freeze return in Telltale Batman Season 3, if that ever happens. I'm sure it's one of the projects next to The Wolf Among Us Season 2, but I'm kind of curious to see if they will bring Mr. Freeze back. Then they might actually do more stuff with him. But from what we got, honestly kind of a mediocre Mr. Freeze. He's not the worst Victor I've ever seen. His role in the story actually does amount to something. It shows that, is Batman going to go the peaceful route or make Victor into an enemy, basically? Victor's role kind of ends in episode 4. He either becomes dissected by Amanda Waller, or you show mercy and he becomes the man who needs a frozen temperature to live. Yeah, I always help Mr. Freeze, besides Waller's actions were way worse than Freeze, absolutely. Yeah, I've never met anyone who decided, you know what, no, I'm not gonna decrease the temperature, I want you to die, Mr. Freeze. This is like after he's like begging Batman, apologizing for being evil, and Victor actually does hold his word. He does give Batman the intel, but I always show him mercy. I decide, yeah, you gave me your word, so I'll help you, since that's something Batman would do. But if you love playing as Crazy Steve, I guess you could potentially kill Victor. Not really special compared to other Freezes and doesn't have enough screen time. Hey, buddy, you made it back to talk about Matthew Mercer's Telltale Mr. Freeze. Yeah, overall, kind of a mediocre Victor. I'm curious if he was going to come back in the Season 3 of Telltale's Batman. I kind of hope he does, since Matthew Mercer deserves a second chance to at least show that he could be a good Mr. Freeze, but from what we've seen, very mediocre. Not the worst, but he's going on to He's Melting. Which choice would you choose, Kat? Need to read your comment. Yeah, Leon's voice actor was miscast. Like, feels like Gabriel Agreste actor should have been Mr. Freeze. I think he was at one point in some video game. Yeah, I always help Mr. Freeze too. Waller is way worse. Waller's actions are at her worst in episodes 4 and 5 if you pick the vigilante Joker route. Yeah, kind of weird. Victor doesn't even show up in the Suicide Squad. I guess, depending on your choices, he's either strapped to an operating table by Waller, or possibly now the ice villain we all know and love, living in a freezing cell. To be fair, I'm 20, but look and sound 14 or 16 years old, so I can understand not appearing my age. Well, Victor's like supposed to be like 50 years old, and Matthew Mercer sounds like he's 20 all the time, so the voice does not match. My age, but I'm a girl, so genetics are so different, so the reasoning can't be easily applied to Telltale Mr. Freeze. Well, Victor, like, looks like he's 50 years old, and Matthew Mercer always sounds like he's 20, so that's kind of why the voice does not match. Victor looks like a lot older than Matthew Mercer actually sounds. Like, is the creamy cold ice cream truck Mr. Freeze a vehicle, but got it defected and haunting children? That'd be pretty cool. Mr. Freeze and creamy cold team up. I feel bad for Mr. Freeze. We all do. I think they do capture the tragedy behind Mr. Freeze, but it comes very late. It's like one scene in a 5-part video game, so that's kind of why he wins a point, but that's about it. I was busy helping my grandmother. I missed Batman the Animated Series. Hope I didn't miss Arkham. Nope, he's still on here. We're saving him for last. But anyways, yeah, Telltale Mr. Freeze going on to Melting. Next, I want to share an underrated Mr. Freeze. The Mr. Freeze from The Doom That Came to Gotham. This is Batman vs. Cthulhu. Batman encounters the Lovecraft world, and all of Batman's villains are reinvented as Lovecraftian versions of the iconic DC foes. And Mr. Freeze is one of the best. Lovecraft Mr. Freeze going on to cool. Yeah, almost S tier, but he's kind of anticlimatically taken out. So, Batman investigates a lot of strange supernatural occurrences, and he finds this deranged mad scientist constantly picking at and chewing away ice. He goes to the Arctic, finds out that Oswald Cobblepot and Victor Freeze have mysteriously disappeared, and uncovers that the Ancient Ones are on the loose. Penguin has turned into a naked, mutating penguin man, and Victor Freeze is a Iceman. Victor has gone insane. He lost his eyes. His eyes melted out of his skull because he saw the Ancient Ones. Yes, Victor went mad from looking at the madness. Victor saw the Ancient Ones. They melted out his eyes, but kept him alive because he was chosen. He was chosen and rewarded ultimate power to bring their greatness to our mortal world. Victor is constantly picking at an iceberg. We see an Ancient One is trapped in here. Victor successfully opens it. Batman captures Mr. Freeze and takes him for interrogation, and Victor basically gains Lovecraft powers where he freezes everywhere he walks. He's the cold man. Everywhere he goes, you feel deathly cold, ice. Everything slowly freezes. Batman locks him up in a cell, and unfortunately the ice is spreading all across his makeshift bat boat. Tim Drake is actually killed by this Mr. Freeze because they never see it coming. The ice is spreading. He touches everything and it turns to ice. Has an ice Midas touch. He has no eyeballs in him. Walking around breathing in the cold. Everywhere he goes, it gets colder and everything flash freezes. I believe Tim Drake got killed. He's frozen to death because he never realized that the ice is actually supernatural and killing him. Well, this was my first time hearing about this movie. I gotta watch this now. So a mix of Hellboy and Batman, yeah. And he's played by David Dastmalchian. He played the Polka Dot Man from James Gunn's Suicide Squad. He's in that movie, yes. It's kind of a twist. Batman finds him. He looks crazy. He's super pale. Mr. Freeze is the cold man from the Lovecraft mythos. He was touched by the Ancient Ones, and everywhere he walks, everything freezes. He's a vessel spreading the Ancient Ones' evil. He's making things colder, making things icy, because apparently in this version, the Ancient Ones need to terraform the Earth, and Mr. Freeze is one of their elite minions. I think he was one of the coolest Batman villains who got the Lovecraft makeover. He is very bone-chilling, and we do see he gains like his iconic red eyes when the demons finally come. They give him new eyesight, and it's kind of like a replacement for his glow-in-the-dark goggles. He regains like red demonic eyes as he walks and spreads the cold. Batman is forced to take him down. Dick Grayson almost dies to him because everywhere he's going is freezing, and I believe like stalactites impaled Tim Drake. Really hardcore movie. Alright, just catch up on comments. At least it's not Justice League's oxymoron freeze. Exactly. Like we need a waiting time for every tier list before it starts. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, he's in the movie, Bat-Kid. He was in the movie. It's kind of a twist that all of Batman's villains are in this movie, and they are Lovecraftian abominations. That's kind of why I watched this movie, because I wanted to see what all of Batman's castmates looks like as Lovecraft characters. Easily the worst is Ra's al Ghul, who becomes Cthulhu. Or I should say, Ra's al Cthulhu. Yeah, seriously, that was his nickname. Oh no, we're gonna have ice puns for years. Yeah, like a mix of Hellboy and Batman. This was based on an actual comic, Batman in a Lovecraft world. It's a fun idea, though not gonna lie, the comic is much better. The movie completely falls off in the final act. It is a very confusing finale, and I ended up not liking it all that much, but Mr. Freeze was easily the best character in it. Sorry, catch up on comments. Yeah, David Dastmalchian plays him. He's voiced by the guy who played Mr. Polka Dot, the Polka Dot Man from James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. He was also that crazy henchman in The Dark Knight, the one Two-Face takes hostage and nearly caps. He's like working for the Joker and laughing at him. Yeah, that's apparently our Mr. Freeze here. This was my first time hearing about this movie. I gotta watch this now. I would recommend it, Shadowlink. I will warn you, it's not one of the top tier Batman movies. It's kind of a dumb fun Elseworlds movie. He played M. Bison on Street Fighter 2026. That hasn't happened yet. And he's Calendar Man and the Penguin in The Long Halloween. That's right, he was in that. And Abracadabra in the CW Flash. Yeah, this guy does a lot of DC roles. Talk about one of H.P. Lovecraft's worst nightmares. And the Question in Batman Arkham Shadow. Oh, he was in that. Okay, I didn't know that was him. And he was the Flash in Justice League vs. Ruby. Do not recommend that. More better than Vilgax becoming Cthulhu in Ben 10 series, aka Dagon. Yeah, that was also stupid, but Ra's al Cthulhu, also kind of a cringe idea. What is it with writers and making villains plans to almost always terraform the Earth? It's kind of that cosmic nightmare fuel. Oh, and he was the Sergeant LJN in Angry Video Game Nerd the movie. That was him? Okay. Including Victor Zsasz. Like, that was weird. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Cthulhu Mr. Freeze, really like him. Really creepy design. He's like wearing a deep diver suit. That's what his suit is. It's like a silver deep diver suit. He walks around. We see the cold like oozing out of him. He has no eyes for most of the movie. He regrows them once the ancient ones come down. He's like an elite minion serving under them. Along with all of Batman's other villains, there's like an anglerfish version of Killer Croc. Poison Ivy is like a demonic plant witch or something. Two-Face becomes like a half monster man portal thing. Really creepy ideas. Unfortunately, the final act, I think, is the worst part of the movie, but Mr. Freeze, easily the best character in the film. I'll put him on to cool. Really like him. Unfortunately, he is also kind of anticlimactically defeated once Batman masters the Lovecraft powers. But yeah, he'll go on to cool. Okay, so I think this is the DC Online Mr. Freeze. I might have to put him on to Who, because I don't remember Freeze being in that game much. I've never seen this Lovecraftian Batman movie. For those of you who are curious, it's called The Doom That Came to Gotham. I believe it's based off of a comic where Batman's fighting the Lovecraft monsters, and they reinvent all of Batman's villains into Lovecraft abominations versions of the iconic DC foes. Yeah, it's called The Doom That Came to Gotham. I'd recommend checking it out, but I will warn you, it's not a heavy hitter Batman movie, just a dumb fun Elseworlds tale. Feels like Scooby-Doo villain from Mystery Incorporated. Yeah. Side note, my headcanon is that Gotham by Gaslight marries Catwoman, adopting all the Robin boys, yeah, give birth to Damian, but with Catwoman being his mom instead, Talia making his personality better. That would be much better. Like, why we can't see that happen to Mr. E, Brad, and Judy disfigured into creatures, but no. I guess it probably was too intense. Is Harley Quinn and Joker and Batman the Doom that came to Gotham? Actually, no. I think Harleen Quinzel is referenced. We never see the Joker. Yeah, for once we finally get a Batman movie where the Joker isn't the center of attention. Joker is not referenced. I believe they tease that he might have been the guy who killed Batman's parents in that movie. But yeah, Joker's not a major foe. They actually have all of Batman's other villains finally hog the spotlight. Yeah, this Mr. Freeze, I actually might show mercy and bump him up to Sub-Zero because he was a really cool concept. Yeah, let's do it. We'll put him low tier onto Sub-Zero. But let's finally end things on a high note, the greatest high note of all high notes, Arkham City Mr. Freeze. You will bring me my wife back, Batman, or you will die. Yeah, Maurice LaMarque's Mr. Freeze, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight Mr. Freeze all rolled into one. Going on to Sub-Zero, and yes, he is our number one. Arkhamverse, awesome game series, I love it. It is peak Batman, and lo and behold, they also gave us a badass version of Mr. Freeze. The Joker, in my opinion, is overrated. I like the Joker a lot. I will agree he's gotten too much focus. Overrated, honestly, I think the problem is he's overexposed. That's what I hate about him. He has had a lot of great stories, including in the Arkhamverse, but I will absolutely agree that you have the right to feel like the Joker is overused and not that great. Maurice LaMarque was perfect. Yeah, Bodhi. Since I hope the pastor's wife doesn't know about this movie since it's too intense. Yeah, it really is. I understand Bat-Kid Shinobi. I understand people hating the Joker now. I can see why, but honestly, I still look back fondly on the character. He's been in a lot more good than bad projects for me. Arkhamverse Freeze was done so well, definitely up there with the best Freeze, and his boss fight is arguably the best fight in the Arkham series with how unique it is. Yeah, this guy, not only a cool villain, he was one of the top 10 best boss fights in gaming history. Yeah, in gaming history. A lot of people love Mr. Freeze, particularly his boss fight if you're a gamer, but as a character, the Arkhamverse knocked it out of the park. They actually took Arnold Schwarzenegger's look and made it work. Yeah, Maurice LaMarque, Vincent Van Gogh, he played him. The Arkhamverse Mr. Freeze, nice high note to end on. Exactly. Like it's done, like I hope we get a remaster version of this since I missed all of it. And nice conclusion for him and Nora in the Arkham Knight. Yeah, the season of infamy. Time's never been on our side, Victor. Sounds like the trailer for what could have been in Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, Arkham Freeze line in the city. Alright, so we do have to give this Victor some slack and explain why he's so awesome. So, Victor does not show up in Arkham Asylum. You do find his freeze cell, which is a fun nod to the character. Yeah, he does have the iconic freeze cell. You scan it, unlock his bio. We never see him physically appear until Arkham City. And in a rather unique twist, we don't actually see him in the armor. You rescue Mr. Freeze from Penguin's museum. Somehow the Penguin and his armada overwhelmed Mr. Freeze and abducted him. And they want to use Mr. Freeze as an exhibit in their museum. And Penguin uses his ice gun to terrorize innocent people. Yeah, Penguin has the ice gun, and you team up with Victor to essentially finish the cure for the Titan poisoning and defeat the Penguin. Sorry, I just need some water. Yeah, Penguin has the ice gun. You get that epic boss fight. Victor gives you like a code that can incapacitate his freeze gun. Batman uses it, beats up the Penguin, beats up Solomon Grundy. Victor gets his costume back, is still alive, but he reveals that he hasn't finished the cure because the enzyme dissolves too quickly. He needs like a molecule that can prevent it from evaporating quickly. He needs like an everlasting chemical, and of course you need that from Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, it leads to Batman fighting Ra's al Ghul. Batman and Mr. Freeze form a rocky alliance in Arkham City. They work together because they need each other. Batman saves Victor. He needs the cure for himself. The Joker needed the cure. He took his wife hostage. There's a side quest. You have to save Nora Freeze. Nora is like being held in this private room you have to find. You rescue Nora, but it leads to a confrontation between Batman and Mr. Freeze. You manage to get the molecule from Ra's al Ghul's blood. I do love that he just shoves a syringe fully in his neck against his will. Yeah, you get the Lazarus molecule from him, help Victor complete the cure, but then Victor turns on Batman in honestly the most hilariously pointless moment in the story. He wants Batman to rescue his wife and for no reason tries to fight Batman over it, thinking that Batman's not gonna do it, and Batman stupidly never tells Victor that, yeah, I'll save your wife, leading to the greatest boss fight of the video game. And this boss fight, really challenging, really difficult. It's a stealth boss fight. Batman cannot fight Mr. Freeze head on. You have to use all the stealth moves and a lot of trickery and traps to defeat this Mr. Freeze. It's very intense, very nightmarish, and really creepy, and it shows you how badass Mr. Freeze is. Victor actually adapts. I learned from my mistakes, Batman. Do you? You use like the silent takedown from behind him. He adapts to it and starts looking at his back, has those scanners that can detect Batman. You use the grate takedown. He freezes the grate so you can't use it again. Use the window takedown. He freezes over the window so you can't use it again. Yeah, you get the point. Really intense boss fight, and you're forced to master the gameplay by this point and use every move at your disposal. Batman eventually defeats Victor, and you go on the side quest, save Nora Freeze, where they happily reunite and they make peace, hinting that Mr. Freeze is going to become good come next game. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen until Arkham Knight. Well, we did have Elseworlds where Nora Freeze becomes Mrs. Freeze. That was done much better. I can evolve from my strategies, Batman, can you? Maurice LaMarche was really awesome as this character. Maurice LaMarche is a great voice actor, and his Mr. Freeze really epic, especially when he gets the voice synthesizer from his suit. Makes him sound really robotic. Reminded me of like the battle droids from Clone Wars. Feels so awesome. Yeah, they had a nice conclusion in Arkham Knight. Sounds like the trailer. Watch the Arkham City trailer of Mr. Freeze. It's like all his best moments and clips, and will make you really terrified of Mr. Freeze. I still think Origins was the best version of Arkham Freeze. Well, we're counting all the Arkham as a whole for this Mr. Freeze. Yeah, sorry I don't have a separate design for Origins or Knight, but I consider Arkham vs. Mr. Freeze all the same character. I still think Origins was the best version of Arkham Freeze, specifically because of how his DLC was a near one-to-one it's a remake of Heart of Ice from Batman the Animated Series. So well performed. Yeah, let's get to that. Arkham Origins surprisingly brought Mr. Freeze back. After getting all the Joker spotlights, it was actually refreshing to see Mr. Freeze comes in the DLC Cold, Cold Heart, and it's easily the best Arkhamverse DLC. I love this. It also made Mr. Freeze the center of attention in the Arkham games. It's New Year's Eve, and it's the Humanitarian Award. It is a complete remake of Heart of Ice, and a really good one. They do add new things. Ferris Boyle is a lot more villainous and conniving in this game, which I really enjoyed. Maurice LaMarche got to be a lot more dramatic as Victor. They are repeating a lot of lines and scenes from Heart of Ice, but I think they did a great job. They made a playable Batman the Animated Series episode. That is why the Arkhamverse is so golden. You actually feel very sorry for this version of Victor Freeze. That and the DCAU Freeze, absolutely. Like, I'm glad Teen Titans Go didn't show him. He got referenced, but that was about it. Like, awesome, like this cool look. I don't blame Victor for destroying one of the cure vials and fighting Batman in City, to be honest. Bats blackmailed him back in the museum and nearly killed him during the interrogation about his freeze gun. Yeah, he had the right to be upset, but still kind of stupid that he fought him instead because Harley Quinn steals the cure vial through their fight. While we did have Elseworlds where Nora Freeze becomes Mrs. Freeze, yeah, that's much better. Love the boss fight in Arkham City, especially distracting him with breaking the Nora statues. Yeah, that's a fun little gimmick you can use. I like that he sees you breaking the statues. Nora, no! Like, why didn't we have a female version of Mr. Freeze? We did, Akira. That's the non-binary Mrs. Freeze down here. Easily the worst one. Like, I like Batman the Animated Series, Mr. Freeze is my favorite. Understandable, he is awesome. Like, why the Batman 2000s Mr. Freeze have no Nora Freeze? She's hinted at, but never actually appears. Yeah, from 2004 Batman. If it wasn't for Iran given diplomatic immunity, Jason would have never felt betrayed by Bruce, even if the Joker came back. Well, you know how unstable Victor is when it comes to his wife, lol. Yeah, speaking of which, Cold Cold Heart, epic DLC, absolutely love it. I play it like every New Year's because that's when it takes place. It's basically recreating Heart of Ice, but expanding upon it more. The Penguin's involved in the story, Ferris Boyle gets a lot more character, and we see Maurice LaMarche really flex his acting chops as Mr. Freeze. Arkham Origins, the one thing I don't like is Mr. Freeze's outfit. They give him this weird fishbowl looking suit, and I'm not a big fan of it. The bull looks really huge and kind of makes him look goofier than he's supposed to be. I guess you could call him Spooky Space Kook Mr. Freeze. But yeah, his suit's in Arkham City a lot better. He attacks the Humanitarian Awards, takes Ferris Boyle hostage in this version, and Batman goes on a journey trying to save Ferris Boyle, Willis uncovering more about Victor and Boyle's true characters. And it's fun, it's really kick-ass. Victor is very badass in this. We actually see how he and Penguin became rivals. Penguin is like making deals with Boyle and Freeze for ice weaponry. In this version, they actually made Victor a lot more tragic. Victor is actually a humble scientist who was legally using their GothCorp technology to help cure his wife. Ferris Boyle was using Victor, leading him on with the false promise that he would help cure his wife and fund the research to find the cure. But Boyle went back on their deal. Victor was building cryogenic ice weaponry, and they were dealing it to mobsters like the Penguin. They were like selling this ice weaponry, but Victor got screwed over on their deal. Ferris Boyle had Nora taken away, and Victor tried to fight back and save his wife. Ferris tried to silence both of them, tried to kill Victor Freeze, but the assassination went wrong and Victor ended up mutating into the Iceman. Victor was not dead from the chemical exposure and built his high-tech suit. We actually see how he became Mr. Freeze through the cool detective vision gimmick. He was doing all this to save his dying wife, and basically we find out Mr. Freeze was the victim in all this, and Ferris Boyle was the true evil mastermind. Ferris Boyle, full-on evil in this version, but I kind of like it, because we kind of get to see a lot more of him, and it leads to the most satisfying ending ever. You actually get to beat up Ferris Boyle at the end of the game. And be real, animated series fans, you all wanted to do that watching the show. That's what made the Arkham games so cool. You actually get to beat up Ferris Boyle at the end. But you do undergo a really cool boss fight with Mr. Freeze. It's not as epic as Arkham City's boss fight, but I thought it was pretty fun. Batman fights Mr. Freeze for the first time in the cryo test area, and you'd use a lot of stealth fighting. You could actually go up on the gargoyles and up top this time. You can go underground in the grates. Mr. Freeze takes a lot more damage in this version. It's much harder to kill him, and if you break his suit, he's like leaking cryochemicals that can accidentally freeze you. I do love that every time he passes by his minions, the minions would get hit by the leaking cryochemicals and freeze up. Made fighting him a lot more easier. But yeah, as you can guess, exactly like in the cartoon, Batman's forced to stop Victor. Victor is like, beaten badly. Batman beat him up, broke his suit. Victor is very exhausted, beaten down. He finds out Nora is losing energy, and Ferris tries to have Nora and Victor die, but it leads to that satisfying scene where you get to break out of the ice and beat up Ferris Boyle. One of the best moments of the DLC. But Batman sees that there's still good in Victor, and ends up saving him, showing that Victor and Nora still have hope of reuniting and starting Batman's entire adventures fighting Mr. Freeze. At least WB Montreal knew what they were doing, paying homage to one of the best boss fights in gaming history. Yeah, they did. The boss fight in Arkham Origins, I will say it is fun. I don't have a problem with it. The problem people had was, it's not as epic or challenging as Arkham City. In Arkham City, Victor is an unstoppable Terminator. In this version, kind of a generic fight, but Victor can take a lot of damage, and you have to calculate your attacks. I did find it fun. Arkham Origins Cold Cold Heart is really awesome. Definitely agree, the Cold Cold Heart DLC was great, even the new bat suit you get was pretty sick. Yeah, the heat suit, that was awesome. Well, you know how unstable Victor is when it comes to his wife, lol. Yeah, agree. Akira meant why wasn't Nora Freeze instead of an oxymoron Freeze? Like why the spooky space kook outfit? I guess they're hinting it's a prototype Freeze suit. We do see that he had like limited time and limited resources to build his suit. So I think he built the spooky space kook armor out of the stuff he had in the lab. I love how his Origins fight is similar to his City fight, but not as restrictive with the takedowns. The respawning goons make up for the lack of challenge. Yeah, that definitely helped make fighting him annoying. Well, this was fun. Bye, Cat. Another great tier list. Looking forward to the next one. Any hints onto which one would be next and when will we expect it? I know a lot of people want me to do Poison Ivy, but unfortunately I gotta wait for Batman Aztec since Ivy is in that. I know Bodhi's probably not looking forward to seeing that Ivy, but I do want to count them all. Solomon Grundy tier list? Maybe for Halloween. I think people want a Scarecrow tier list for Halloween. Ghost Rider tier list. Yeah, Nicolas Cage would be number one. Like it's finally done. Icy stream. I do have one more story to talk about. Arkham Knight. Yeah, it is a side mission, but a very heartwarming one. So, surprisingly, Victor does come back in the Season of Infamy DLC for Arkham Knight. Victor and Nora are trying to leave Gotham City. They actually want to skip town. However, the Arkham Knight militia attacks them and wants to take Victor onto their side. They take Nora Freeze hostage, and it leads to a proper conclusion and a very bittersweet but heartwarming ending for the Freeze couple. Nora is taken hostage again, this time by the Arkham Knight's forces, and Victor is in like a boat trying to get out. He needs to fix the cryotechnology or Nora will die. Batman comes in, and he and Victor actually work together, this time without any backstabbing. He will help him save his precious Nora, while the Arkham Knight's militia try to take out Victor, and he fixes their boat. We finally get to see Nora Freeze for the first time, unlocked out of her chamber. Batman finds Nora, finds out that her tube is completely broken, it's draining energy, and we see Nora come out. I believe Jennifer Hale voices Nora Freeze. I could be wrong on that. It sounds like Jennifer Hale. But Nora comes out, finally reveals that she was conscious the whole time, and wants to save Victor. They find out the Arkham Knight's forces are overwhelming their battleship, leading to a Batmobile boss fight. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Batmobile. You fight around the frozen area of the battleship, taking out tanks basically, while Victor wants to put Nora back in her cryotube because if he doesn't, she'll succumb to she'll succumb to her disease and die. Nora is actually okay with this. Nora has lived a long life and decides that she doesn't want to be his frozen popsicle anymore, that they can live happily ever after together until the end. And unfortunately, Victor has trouble choosing. It leads to a fight, basically extending the tank wars, since I know you all love that. But Victor makes the right choice. He destroys the cryo tube, blows up the ship, and kills all the Arkham Knight's tanks. And it leads to the very tragic yet sweet ending where Nora and Victor finally embrace each other for the first time. That they both want to set sail at sea and die together. Nora finally kisses Victor. Victor finally gets to feel the warmth of her hand touch him. He decides, I guess, that he's not going to be wearing the suit anymore. We do see him, like, take off the helmet, at least. He and Nora finally embrace, and they decide to spend their final days together, living happily ever after. And that's kind of the end of how their Arkhamverse counterparts go out. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, catching up on comments. Thanks, Akira. Glad you liked it. We need a Disney Channel animation tier list. I have to see them all. I haven't seen a lot of them. Lol, spooky space kook freeze. Yeah, Cold Cold Heart is a testament to how beautifully crafted the Arkham games are, and how much it respects the Batman mythos. The Arkhamverse as a whole is just that awesome. It pays tribute to everything Batman, even the Adam West show. That's how great Arkham is. Like Sister remembers the Skechers parody of Mr. Freeze, that is a cool breeze rival. My work, the equipment, it's all gone. I can't save you. Maybe there's another way. Victor, this isn't you. I won't let you destroy yourself. I wish I could have told you sooner. Or not, since Skechers have weird superheroes. I don't want you to die, Nora. Then let me live. We won't have much time. Days. Time never has been on our side, Victor. And yeah, they both hold hands, kiss and embrace, and Victor and his wife decide to set sail at sea, living out the rest of their days, dying in each other's arms, basically. And that's kind of how they get rid of Arkhamverse Mr. Freeze. A tragic yet happily ever after. Victor and Nora are finally together, even if it's only days, and they finally go out together. Though, I do love Batman's comments. I do love Batman's comments at the end where they're setting sail. Sir, should I put a tracker on them? Let them go. We'll never see them again. Like, damn, really cold, Batman. A frozen villain that have a tragic story like Mr. Freeze should have his own movie or series. And I think Mr. Freeze is good for a couple episodes. At least with this one is more better than Nora from Harley Quinn series. Nora, yeah, way better. Yeah, this Nora didn't have a fling with Maxie Zeus. It's a satisfying ending, but really sad that they die together. Nora could have become Lazara. Could have been, but she wants to be with her hubby. Sissy Jones voices Nora. Jennifer Hale voices Nyssa. Yeah, I know she's Nyssa, Ra's al Ghul's daughter in the DLC. I don't know why. I thought it was Jennifer Hale as Nora in the game, but no, apparently it's Sissy Jones. Like we wait for a Starfire series to do a Starfire tier list. Hopefully James Gunn doesn't screw over the best alien. Why do some people hate the Bright Knight show? It's very child-friendly and really goofy and campy. Clearly didn't take itself seriously, but that's what made it very fun. Yeah, a lot of people don't like The Bright Knight. Like any Goosebumps reviews yet? Saving those for October. Yeah, I know it's still far, but working on a lot of October videos. Those are being worked on. I did do that top 10 Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes. That is on Patreon currently. Who is the Bright Knight? That's Adam West's nickname, Akira. Adam West is called the Bright Knight because he lives in a more bright-colored world. So, that's what the audio is from. Yep. You mean Lilith Clawthorne actress played Nora? Was that her? I don't think that was her. The kitten says Sissy Jones on the IMDb page, uncredited. Okay, that was her. Like an Owl House character played Nora Freeze, like it'd be funny. Maybe, but whatever. Okay, so to wrap up, yeah, the Arkhamverse Mr. Freeze, awesome. Easily the number one. I think we're gonna see a lot of Arkhamverse characters as the number one Batman interpretations, but Maurice LaMarque's voice knocked it out of the park. Love all the designs they gave him, love his boss fights, and the character was absolutely done justice in this video game saga. He is easily the number one Mr. Freeze. And as you can see, we did it. We completed the Mr. Freeze tier list. Talked about all of them so far. We'll see what happens when more Mr. Freeze interpretations come in the future. But for now, this is my Mr. Freeze tier list. Take one last snapshot. Actually did have a lot of S tiers up here. Some mediocre Mr. Freezes, but a lot more positive than negative, I would say. We'll go over it one last time for any of you late birds showing up now, or for any of you who skip click to the end just to watch the ranking in full. With the delusional Greek mythology fan supervillain, really, what were the Harley Quinn writers thinking? Yeah, Nora hooks up with Maxie Zeus in that show, and later Captain Cold. Bye, see ya, cat. Next time, my friend. Bye, Christopher. Like it's done. Yeah, finally done. We still have Clayface, Man-Bat, Bane, and Poison Ivy. We want to do Poison Ivy, but gotta wait for Batman Aztec. Pretty cold list, bud. Thanks, Bodhi. Yeah, here they are. Arkhamverse Mr. Freeze, easily number one. Worst Mr. Freeze, ironically, Mrs. Freeze, going on dead last. Alright, let's go over this list one last time for any of you late birds. So, this is the Who tier list. All the characters I don't recognize. Batman Unlimited Mr. Freeze, the old Batman Superman Hour Mr. Freezes, Batwheels Mr. Freeze, and whoever this one is, just don't recognize. Yeah, they're not the worst, I just don't know who any of these Mr. Freezes are and never watch their content. Bye, Batkid. Like, we need a revamped Two-Face and Catwoman for the Batman Aztec tier list. Yeah, we do. Alright, Absolute Zero. Easily the worst Mr. Freeze is non-binary gay pride Mrs. Freeze. Was there really any doubt? Kill the Justice League is one of the worst video games ever, and leave it to them to blow their own Mr. Freeze. Yeah, she sucks. Just look at that Pride Armor Freeze suit. God awful. Then, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. Was there really any doubt? Not a good Mr. Freeze. Dark Tomorrow, Mr. Freeze. Dark Tomorrow sucks, and all their villains suck. Gotham, Mr. Freeze. What a letdown. Could have been one of the best Victor Freezes, but ended up being a very minor character surrounded by much cooler villains. Then, Eli Wallace, Mr. Freeze. Not a big fan of him. Just screaming German Nazi Mr. Freeze. Easily the blandest of all the Adam West characters. Then, he's melting Otto. Really disappointing Mr. Freeze. Even Adam West did not like this version. Gotham Knights Mr. Freeze. Gotham Knights, very forgettable, bland video game, wasted so much potential, and Mr. Freeze was among that wasted potential. Matthew Mercer's Mr. Freeze. The one character the Telltale Batman game got wrong. Mercer was horribly cast as this character. His voice did not fit. The writing for him was okay, but that's about it. Hope Season 3 redeems him if it happens, but yeah, easily an underwhelming victor. The Court of Owls tier list. Haven't had too many yet. Hootie, Hoot Hoot Court Owl tier list. Bye, Cat, since I'm late for this is cool. Bye, Kira. Then, Frozen today, all the mid Mr. Freezes, basically a bunch of cameos. We have Gods and Monsters Mr. Freeze, he's a murder victim. Brave and the Bold Mr. Freeze, underutilized, just a cameo. Injustice Mr. Freeze, the card one, just a cute reference. DC Superhero Girls Mr. Freeze, barely a character. Lego Batman Mr. Freeze, a cameo in a crowd shot. The Adam West animated Mr. Freeze. Yeah, it's fun seeing him, but that's really it, just a cameo. Young Justice Mr. Freeze, tragically underutilized. Fun seeing him, but that's about it. And Public Enemies Mr. Freeze. Public Enemies Mr. Freeze, really cool seeing him, but I think he was fine. That's really all I have to say. These are all fine Mr. Freezes, many of them just cameos. Then, in cool, Injustice 2 Mr. Freeze skin. Yeah, it's fun playing as him, but he's kind of just a DLC for Captain Cold. Either way, seeing him fight Batman in a combat game is pretty fun. Peter Stormare's Mr. Freeze. I liked him, kind of underutilized, but definitely a fun villain character. The New Adventures of Batman Mr. Freeze, yeah, easily the worst of the animated Mr. Freezes, but I did think his episode was pretty decent. Then, The Batman Mr. Freeze. Cool design, but he was all flash and no substance. Then finally, let's talk about the S-tier Mr. Freezes, the best of the best. Lovecraft Mr. Freeze. Really love him. Easily the best of the Batman villains reimagined as Lovecraftian monsters. Love the man who brings cold everywhere he goes. Lego Mr. Freeze. You missed it, Bodhi, but I love playing as this guy. He was cool. He was the Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze done right. Polar Bear Mr. Freeze. Yeah, one of the awesomest mutants in the movie. Love all of Batman's villains becoming Ninja Turtle mutants, and Mr. Freeze as a polar bear wielding an ice cannon is just plain awesome. George Sanders Mr. Freeze. Easily the best of the Adam West Batman Mr. Freezes. He was basically a Bond villain Mr. Freeze. That's what makes him cool. Harley Quinn Mr. Freeze. Yeah, really shocked that they actually did a great Mr. Freeze on the show. Out of all the characters that they messed up, they actually got Mr. Freeze the most perfect. Love Alfred Molina's Mr. Freeze. He is definitely a top Iceman. Then, animated series Mr. Freeze. Yeah, it wasn't really any doubt. He's a classic. He's a legend. Michael Ansara is one of the greatest Mr. Freeze voice actors of all time, and the show did him absolute justice. He is easily in the top 3. But I love the Batman Beyond new design more. Yeah, it's still Michael Ansara. This is Batman Beyond Mr. Freeze. I just love the outfit a lot more. That's why he's higher. But gave him a one hell of a great downer ending. Love Batman Beyond, and they did Mr. Freeze absolute justice. But number 1 Mr. Freeze, Arkhamverse Victor. Yeah, he's number 1. Wasn't really any doubt. Cool boss fight, cool character, really tragic backstory. They captured everything right about Mr. Freeze. He is the number 1 Iceman. Okay, so that pretty much completes my tier list. Thank you all for watching. What will our next tier list be on? I know everybody really wants me to do Poison Ivy, but gotta wait for Batman Aztec. I might do another horror franchise. I'm thinking about doing another one, but we'll see. For videos, I do have my top 10 Treehouse of Horrors on Patreon, along with Wolf's anime review there. I'm going to be working on a lot of horror content to prepare for spooky season, since that's very slowly approaching. Our next live stream, not sure what it will be on. I know a lot of people want me to bring back Power Rangers, but we'll see when we get there. For now, thank you for joining me. I'm very glad you love these tier lists, really love doing them, and was so glad that you all joined me to talk about another cool villain. See you next time, Cat. Bye. Bye, everyone. Icicles. Bye, Akira. I still recommend Gregory Horror Show. I'll check that out. Alright, so thank you all for joining me. Let's set you guys free. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, or just tune in for more content here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I wish you all an ice time. Remember to tune in next time. Same cat time, same cat channel.